cool. I'm gonna fade to black, and I'm gonna turn this Nip album on. I'll turn the mics on so it'll capture it for me.
I was gonna show him. I was like, I just got a notification.
Yeah. Did you see yourself?
Huh?
Did you see yourself?
No, I didn't see me. I saw him.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to test. Because that's the issue me and Latoya had last week, was I couldn't, for some reason, get it to go like over the Ethernet cable.
Okay.
This time this wasn't. That's what I did though, taking out.
Oops. Oh, there we go. There we go. Need that. Dedication. It's not about acceptation. It's a real nigga celebration. It's a dime black decoration. 59th and 5th Ave, granny house with vanilla wafers. We're gonna plug up there. Right there. Okay. I think it'll be easy over here. That way nobody's working. Walk away.
He frustrated, so he get faded. But deep down inside, he know you can't fade him. How long should I stay dedicated? How long till opportunity needs preparation? I need some real nigga reparations. Or I rub in your face for recreation, dedication, hard work, plus patience. Some more of my sacrifice. I'm done waiting. Told you that I wasn't playing. Now you hear what I've been saying. Dedication. Dedication. I spent my whole life thinking out the box. Boxing homies 3-on-1, got DP, but I ain't dropped. Chirp on me, here I come. Spin around the block, they worked on me. Said I ran a stop sign, but that's a lie. I spent my whole life staring at the stage, playing Sega, daddy smoking Sherm, mama playing spades, catching papers. Grandma said I get some Jordan for my grades. That's my baby. When she died, my heart broke 100 ways. I spent my whole life trying to make it, trying to chase it. The cycle of a black man divided, trying to break it. You take a lost shit, don't cry about it, just embrace it. Mine is setback for major comeback, that's my favorite. My nigga L said you do a song with Nip. Kate out here better grip. I said here, man, first you hear the words out his lips about flourishing from the streets to black businesses. Level 4, y'all living, giving to false imprisonment. Listen close, my nigga. It's bigger than deuces and balls, my nigga. Since elementary, we close, my nigga. Get straight like that. I give you the game, go back to the turf and give it right back. For generations, we've been dealt bad hands for bad plans. Prove your dedication by hopping out grand hands. I'm at the premiere, politicking with Top Nip and Snoop down. Clock watching the way we move from dedication.
If it ain't congratulate, then look like hating. If it congratulate, then look like what Nip say. Hold up.
This ain't entertainment. It's 4 niggas on a slave ship. These soldiers and spirituals I swam against some waves with. Ended up on shore to their amazement. I hope the example I set's not contagious. Lock us behind gates but can't tame us. Used to be stay safe, now stay dangerous. Cause ain't no point playing defense, nigga. That's why I dove off the deep end, nigga, without a life jacket. Couple mil, tour the world, now my life cracking. Cut the books, bring it back, so there's no taxes. Royalties, published them, plus our own masters. I'd be damned if I slave on some white crackers. I was mapping this out, I hit the heights backwards. Stopping out the 85 and Reebok classes. Ran a couple marathons just to get established. To make it happen, you got to have dedication. Hard work, plus patience. Some more of my sacrifice. I'm done waiting. Told you that I wasn't playing. Now you hear what I've been saying. Dedication. Dedication.
Almost got you at dogs.
Man, every time.
They've been troopers, like, for real. That's another reason why I'm excited about going up that way. You know, they be wanting to be in the midst.
Time Chamberlain throwback, match my Rolex. Everywhere I go, flex. Ballet park on some low shit. Whole lot of smoke in that Rory, that thing post. Burning rubber. When the cameras, it was undercovers. Under pressure, make statements turned on their brothers. Never judge you with the streets and never love you. I wonder what it comes to in your brain for you to run to. Ones to hate us, handcuff us and maces. Call us dumb niggas cause our culture is contagious. Third generation South Central gangbangers. I lived long enough to see it change. Think it's time we make arrangements. Finally whipping out their mace. Find me out in different places. And it's spoke by the door, it's the infiltration. Double back dressed in blue laces. He was teaching health. I fuck with Rick Ross cause he teaching wealth. Dropped out of school, I'ma teach myself. Made my first meal on my own, I don't need your help. All black, Tom Ford, special wave. City council meeting, they got hustle speak. $1 billion project about to crack the cement. So one of our investments has become strategic. Summer 018, man, such a season. About to make my partners look like fucking cheese. We was in the ring, but it was me and Steve. We done took a dream and turned it to a scene. Anything I wanted, everything I needed. Gotta pace yourself, it's all about your brain. Can't have it all, it's all about your race. I done took my name and carved it in the cement. Flashback on that shootout at the beach, 20 deep. You tried to squeeze your gun J after they release. Run on your tape. How many stains? I see 3. The bitch starts to panic, so I make her switch seats. Driving now, police chopper here flying now. Really not too spooked, calmly ask me, am I dying now? All I know is keep you calm and collected. Cracking jokes like, nigga, now you gon' be finally respected. See your blood leaking. Got my foot on his gas. Toss the 40, we pull up to Daniel Free and see crash. You know the alibi. They started shooting, we was standing by. Ain't see nothing but the flare from the talents fly. I wasn't there, I was passing by. Matter of fact, don't say shit, I'm just gonna drop you in the back and slide. That's your weed, all the cash is mine. I take them both to the spot, plus your phone till you back online. Pull up in motorcades. I got a show today. It's all I'm trying to do. Hustle and motivate. Choppers a throwaway. Hustle the overweight. That's why they follow me out. They think I know the way. Cause I took control of things. Rolling the solo way. And if you pattern my trend, I make you my protege. Crossing that soldier race. Niggas don't know them days. Take you in back of the buildings. Make you expose your rage. Take you across the tracks. Make you expose face. Now you official now. But you got a soul to say. I just been cooking that note. I'm about to drop in the fuel. Think if I call it the great, the people gon' call it the truth. Ain't really trip on the credit. I just paid all of my bills. I just respected the game. Got my name all in the news. Tripping on all of my moves. Quote me on this, got a lot more to prove. Remember I came in this bitch, fresh out the county with nothing to lose. No, when I count on you, Back in this bitch like I never left. Stand for some shit that you never read. Passing through stages in life, through the ups and the downs like it's all just another test. Live by the rules like a fucking ref. I got respect in 100 cents. Too many chains need another chest. Playing no games if it wasn't chess. Come from that cloth that you couldn't stretch. Come from that circle you couldn't test. Heavily pressured and under stress, even though niggas ain't sure it was a mess. Honest attempt playing to the left. Judge a young nigga by his dress. Left us no option, what they expect. Only thing we knew for sure is the bang is set. Fuck living basic, I'm taking risks. Fuck what they said, I'm saying this. Don't waste your time, it don't make you rich, it don't mean nothing, so fuck 'em, let's make a grip. Double up, triple up, make it 6. Wanna so hard you can pay a bitch. Link to the lake if they wanna fish. Make sure them niggas around you stick to the script. It should be written in stone. You should come visit my zone. Don't take my word, double check all of my flows. Ask them out, hustle got on, but fuck what you heard. It's for who walk down that road. Showed everything but they slow. Straight off the curb. Real niggas rich as you nerds. Address the who we make it so. Don't do this for nothing. No. When I'm proud of you, but I don't do this shit for nothing. No, not at all. Not at all. You, but my money green, my money red. That's what you do. That's all I give love. So I don't do this shit for nothing. No, that's the mother. Not at all. I told her I got.
Victory lap.
Almost forgot what I was doing. Almost forgot where I was going. I've been driving, I've been smoking. Almost forgot what I was doing. Almost forgot what I was drinking. What the hell have I been thinking? Now I'm just riding through the city. Now I'm just riding through the city. And ain't nobody rolling with me. And ain't nobody rolling with me. It ain't no problem, I'm gon' get it. It ain't no problem, I'm gon' get it. This is a trip. Ride around smoking by myself. Don't you know I do it so well? Dollar signs all on my head. Rolling solo dolo, this is trip. Hey, almost forgot what I was doing. Almost forgot where I was going. I've been driving, I've been smoking. Almost forgot what I was doing. Almost forgot what I was drinking. What the hell have I been thinking? For my section, roll with my protection. Who gon' die next? Ain't trying to get elected. Riding by myself. Time for some reflection. I feel like a young boss, nigga that's thankful for his blessings. I can't even lie. I ain't even flex. Block for me, black man. No, they trying to stretch us. I ain't trying to preach. I ain't trying to lecture. When you make your first million cash, you wanna feel the pressure. Just wanna feel the thrust. Wanna feel the texture. Wanna feel the drop top braids. Wanna feel success. Wanna chase the county. Never chase a message. Never stop grinding. Cherish no concessions. They ain't get accepted. We just reinvest. Thanks what I expected. Cause we ain't even set you. 60 up to make it. Choppers fucking takers. FBI investors. But they can't arrest us. Almost forgot what I was doing. Almost forgot where I was going. I've been driving, I've been smoking. Almost forgot what I was doing. Almost forgot what I was drinking. What the hell have I been thinking? Now I'm just riding through the city. Now I'm just riding through the city. And ain't nobody rolling with me. And ain't nobody rolling with me. It ain't no problem, I'm gon' get it. It ain't no problem, I'm gon' get it. This is trip. Ride around smoking by myself. Don't you know I do it so well? Dollar signs all on my head. forgot what I was drinking. What the hell have I been thinking? Yeah, I'm swerving. Yeah, I'm swerving. Yeah, I'm splurging. Yeah,
It is not.
on purpose.
You want to play your last one?
Hmm?
You want to play your last song on this side?
It's cool. Oh, it's just on this side. You got it. There's two sides. Is it two sides, John? Okay.
Yeah, feel like I was heavy.
Yeah, always have to clash. Nigga, this is clash. How we came from nothing. When it got established. Living like a savage. Trying to make some magic. Everybody's starving. Trying to take a sandwich. I know it's elaborate. And nigga, just imagine. Filter out the acid. We can make it happen. Even through the traffic. I can take you back then. Everything I said I meant. I was never capping. I was never scared to stand. Front line with Mac 10s. Raised a shoot at black men. Never felt the satisfaction. When I seen the game collapsing. They took the rules and whacked it. Started moving at a different frequency and it got me living lavish. From my partner steady pass. Trying to wiggle through this madness. Trying to fight this gravity every time I swear I can feel it pull me backwards. Putting thousands on their canvas. Trying to pick the right reactions. I appreciate the progress, but I'm so contrite by the status. Almost forgot what I was doing. Almost forgot where I was going. I've been driving, I've been smoking. Almost forgot what I was doing. Almost forgot what I was drinking. What the hell have I been thinking? Now I'm just riding through the city. Now I'm just riding through the city. And ain't nobody rolling with me. And ain't nobody rolling with me. It ain't no problem, I'm gon' get it. It ain't no problem, I'm gon' get it. Just a trip. Ride around smoking by myself. Don't you know I do it so well? All black dollar signs all on my head. Rolling solo dolo. This is trip. Almost forgot what I was doing. Almost forgot where I was going. I've been driving, I've been smoking. Almost forgot what I was doing. Almost forgot what I was drinking. What the hell have I been thinking? Just watch.
Can you turn my mic on? We go cheap. Make sure we're getting all this good footage.
Liking the good lighting.
You liking it? You like the way you look? I'm glad you're impressed. That makes me feel really good.
I knew it was legit, but seeing it in person,
See?
it's a little different.
See?
It's a little different seeing it in person.
Look, he's making me feel real good right now, y'all. I can't even lie. I'm over here feeling real good about myself.
Hanging out with my favorite Valley girl.
I'm your favorite Valley girl. Do I look? I do, huh? With the Vans on and every, yeah.
How's the OC these days?
It's funny. So one of my friends, her best friend, was like, Melissa is such a white girl. And I was like, I hate that, because I heard that growing up my entire life. Let me move this damn pillow. And so I'm like, am I? But
Nah, you know I gotta give it to you.
look, I'll take it. All right, so we ready to hop in?
Let's go.
All right, y'all. Well, children, welcome back to the Green Route, season 2, episode 5.
Hey, I made the top 5.
You made the top 5.
Look at
That's amazing. Y'all, I have the, first of all, incredible. I'm gonna just talk about it from a personal sense first, and then I'll get into his actual resume. But just the incredible Marvá. So y'all, a little background on how I even know this man. I was in business school, and we met when I was in my internship, and I went back to school. We kept in touch and became friends. He actually came to my business school graduation, which was just so cool. And we started working together at the same company, and literally just grew our friendship. And what was crazy was we were never in the same group or on the same team while we worked for the same company.
Or on the same floor.
Or on the same, sometimes not even in the same building, to be honest. But nah, you know those people who, don't know. It's like your soul just knows them from another life. It's like, I recognize you. You all right. Like Marvá was one of those people. My mom used to call those people fast friends. Those were fast friends for you.
For sure.
And so Marvá was a fast friend. And I mean, it's been over 10 years now, I think, or close to 10 years.
To 10.
And you talk about life, like just watching each other grow up and watching life happen to both of us. Good, bad, ugly. You know, happy times, crying, sending the tough text.
Oh, yeah.
Of, you know, this is what's happening. Can you pray for the fam and all of that? So Marvá has been that person. And for me, in a professional sense, you know, he was really the person who encouraged me to keep writing, keep blogging. I would send him stuff and he would edit it for me and catch all my mistakes and typos and grammatical errors and all of that. And yeah, really encouraged me to even do this, to trust myself and to use my own voice, to take me to the places that I wanted to go instead of, you know, putting that goal and that dream of mine in the hand of another institution. So yeah, I love you. First of all, you're amazing. You're such a cool guy.
Love you back.
That was good. I like the way you did that. I see what you did there.
Yeah.
So Marvá, tell the people about you. Tell them who you are, what you about.
Man, I'm just a little old kid from small town, Bolivar, Tennessee, but, you know, I've traveled the world, and currently now, I mean, husband, father, believer, brother, cousin, sometimes best friend, you know. So I just try to be as authentic and as genuine as possible, and be the person that wherever I am, I need whoever that person needs me to be. That's who I try to be. So that's who I am. Not trying to be a chameleon in a sense, but being that support system for that person or the people that I'm serving at that particular time.
Yeah, y'all, Marvá is the plug, like for real. Like, if you need to know somebody, if you need, in an industry, right? If you walk up to Marvá like, hey, I really want to get into breeding earthworms, Marvá would be like, no problem. I got a homeboy from Tennessee that I grew up with who works in a lab with worms. He could probably get you, like, I'm telling you, anything you need, this man can figure it out. It can be the most.
Confirm nor deny that statement, but we can work on it.
I'm just saying. I'm like, he really is the plug. Like, he is that dude. So no, thank you for joining me. We're gonna have a good time. We are drinking. Tell people what we're drinking. It's some stuff I ain't never heard of.
So it's not a it's not that exclusive. Well, it's exclusive.
It's
but
not
it's
that
not
exclusive.
It's not that special. It's a tequila that I drink called El Mayor. But this one specifically is from this packaging store that I get in Olive Branch, Mississippi. They have their own barrels, and so it's specifically they have their own specific barrels that they pull it from. So yeah, I just every time I go down there, I get a bottle. Shout out to OB Packaging Store.
When you say packaging, like packing things?
No, it's a liquor store.
Oh,
but
okay.
They call it packing.
Is that a Mississippi thing? They call liquor stores packaging store?
No, it's actually a thing. Like several places, they call it packaging store. Yeah. It's weird. I don't know where it came from. I never.
Is it to keep them from like maybe getting targeted or something?
I have no idea. I never looked into it. But
we're gonna have to research that. We're gonna have to
put that on the list.
I thought it was maybe like like packing peanuts in boxes, and they just happen to have a liquor section.
It's straight liquor, but they have. I mean, it's not just tequila. I mean, they're like any other liquor store. I usually go there. Shout out to Carrie. She always tells me to go get her whiskey or bourbon every time I go there. So, so they get in. Just like every liquor store, they get one or two bottles, special bottles, things like that. So I try to stop by every time I'm back at home. Man,
look, y'all, was in, I think it was Tulum, or I was in Playa or something, and I went to this distillery, and I was like, oh, Marvá would like this because I did a tasting. And I felt good about myself because when I gave him the bottle, he was like, that was good.
Oh, yeah, no, that one was really good.
Was it mezcal or was it tequila, though?
No, it was tequila.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
I don't fool with the mezcal.
Yeah.
Some of the people that I know probably gonna hate me saying that, but I don't. I don't fool with the mezcal.
I'll have a mule every so often, but all right.
Still can't do mezcal with the mule.
It does have a different. Is it potatoes? What do they make that stuff out of?
I have no idea.
It's
but
different.
Charcoal. That's what they make it out. That's what it tastes like.
Crazy
it tastes
enough,
like charcoal.
I learned a bunch of stuff about mezcal when I was in Playa a few weeks ago, and crazy, I've forgotten all of it probably because I was drinking it while he was teaching me
That's
all the
thing.
things.
You get, if you go, I mean, I've done some wine tasting like that, and you kind of get caught up. You're like, oh, this is good, or you're trying to learn about the different flavor profiles, those type of things, and
And before
5
you know
or
it,
6, 12 drinks in, you're out of it.
boom,
So.
it's a wrap. All right, y'all. Well, we got our liquor. The cussin hasn't started yet, but I'm sure it will. And let's talk some politics. Let's go on and get into it.
I don't do politics, but I'm here for it though.
We all do. We all do politics, okay? Whether you know it or not.
You know.
So what's crazy is I feel like
hold on before we start.
What's up?
Can I give a shout out to
You better remember their name now.
No, I remember his name.
Oh.
I had a nickname for him, but Tan Suit Berry. So a couple of days ago, there was the 9th anniversary of when Barack Obama wore his tan suit. Speaking of politics, so it was a couple of days ago. I saw a notification.
I like that.
Yeah. So shout out to
Kenny,
the tan suit.
Make sure we put an overlay of Tan Suit Berry
Tan Suit Berry
on the finished edition. They hated him for that.
They hated him
because he freaked it too.
I saw some videos. They showed old clips of it, and people were hating. It was not presidential.
It was too clean for him.
Yeah, they didn't know what to do.
It was too clean for him. He was like, what do I do with this? We ain't never seen a president look like this.
Never seen this outside of the dark
And then the way he was strutting.
Oh, yeah.
Out the, bruh, you didn't even have to kill him off like that, Barack.
Yeah.
You didn't even have to do him like that.
Yeah.
He had his little iPad under his arm.
Oh, yeah. He was ready.
It was nasty.
He looked like he was about to go into a boardroom and kill it, right?
Remember when he was running, like he had his basketball shoes in his hand, like he was going to play ball, and all the real ballers know, like, you don't wear your ball shoes outside, and people was so mad at him, like, you mad because he actually play ball?
Yeah.
You mad?
But he was giving people buckets too, though. Barry had a nice little J.
It's a little wet. It's a little,
left-handed J, yeah.
Hey, shout out.
I didn't expect it.
Southpaws United. Southpaws United. I love it. All right, well, yeah, shout out to, what you call him, Tan Suit Berry?
Tan Suit Berry.
Yeah, that's dope. When this show blows up, we going to interview Tan Suit Berry. Now, we don't know if he'll be able to fit that tan suit.
That specific one?
Right.
Yeah.
But we'll make sure that, he has one at least hanging up as like a third-party guest or something. Yeah. All right, y'all, let's go on and hop in. So, topic number 1 tonight. Let's talk about return to the office. So, and the politics behind returning to the office. So, COVID hit 2020. Well, 2019, hence COVID-19. But 2020, about March, I would say, it was like right after St. Patty's Day.
To be exact.
Oh, well, damn.
That's
March,
when we got sent home.
Oh, okay. I was like, well,
the night
damn.
of CODA. Shout out to the network.
That's crazy. So I remember we did CODA, and I don't know if you remember, but we went out the whole weekend because we knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Like at the time, I was managing a team, and I had started getting like the inklings, like, hey, tell your people to start taking their laptops home, their monitors. So I knew what was coming. My employees didn't know yet. So that whole weekend, y'all, we was out the F side because we knew that it was going to be like no outside for a minute.
Did you know? Do you remember everybody at CODA we were all checking our phones up because CODA started at 5 o'clock and we were waiting on the email and they sent one at 4:55. Like, don't do anything. And
well,
we were like, we already here. Party
the band
on.
is setting up. The band is doing a sound check right now. We can't really shut it down.
That's the only reason I remember.
Yeah. So March 12th, 2020, the world really shut down, or at least our part of America shut down.
Yeah.
And it really did change the way that those of us who were privileged enough to work in office spaces, it really changed the way we work. So a few things that I really enjoyed about working from home was that we were able to prove what we had said for so long, for years, about, hey, we don't really need to be in this office 40 hours a week. A lot of what we do can be done from the comfort of our homes. It would give us time to put a load of laundry on for people who have kids. It gives you the ability to go take your kids to school, pick them up, all of that. So really it created the work-life balance that a lot of people were looking for pre-COVID. So that went on for 2.5 years, should we say?
Yeah.
Two-ish,
Yeah.
2.5 years. And all of a sudden, right, once we realized that this was going to be an endemic rather than a pandemic, which it was, right, when it first started, because
Care
this
to
was a
explain
very...
the differences? Care to explain the differences?
Yeah, so a pandemic is something that you are able to eradicate with, a vaccine, something like that, right? People can build up an immunity, or you can eradicate it with a vaccine.
Yep.
COVID is a coronavirus the same way that a cold is.
Right.
And so even though it does have very different symptoms, there are things like long COVID, all of that, there's a higher risk of death from COVID-19 than other coronaviruses. But what they realized was COVID-19 wasn't going anywhere. You weren't able to eradicate it. What you were able to do was build up people's immunity through vaccines, but also through them getting COVID-19 and actually having the antibodies.
Yep.
So it took a minute, though, right, for them to understand that, hey, this is not something we can eradicate. This is something that we are just going to have to deal with from here on out. So once I think scientists, medical professionals figured that out, then the next thing was, all right, well, my building has been sitting empty and my workers been at the house. So what are we going to do about them? So we saw a few things happening. We saw executives from these large companies saying, hey, all right, we got to start transitioning back into the office. I think it was a very gentle approach early on. Like, hey, if you want to come in, sure, you can come in, no problem.
Yep.
And then most of us was just like, come in for what? Like, I'm enjoying my house. Like, I ain't coming in. And I think when people didn't bite at the dog whistle of, hey, if you want to come in, that's when the mandates start coming. One thing that I do want to say, and then I'm going to throw it to you, is I knew it was real when, what was it, the 2022, yes, the March 2022 State of the Union address that President Biden gave. When he said at the podium, we got to start getting American workers back to work and back into the offices so that they can feel our great downtown cities. I knew what it was immediately.
Yeah.
I was like, this ain't just politics. This is about money now.
Yeah.
And I started doing the research on commercial real estate and how much money was being lost. The company we worked for together, one of my last projects before I left was actually looking at rolling us off of a lease for a building that a lot of our employees sat in and where we were going to disperse those employees. And it made me realize, oh shit, these commercial real estate owners are losing money left and right because of the vacancies. Yeah. So of course there's going to be lobbying in DC to get people back. Of course there's going to be lobbying and, nudging of corporate executives by people who own this real estate to get us back into the office. So, yeah, there was a lot of politics even around that then, and there still is now. JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, all of them have these crazy mandates. You said what?
They were leading the charge.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And now we've heard about Amazon, right? Pretty much telling their employees, if you don't want to come in, that's cool.
But you
also not going to, don't ever come in.
If you don't want to come in, don't come in.
No, this picture of your mother is ours now. You left it here. So what's your experience?
No, I definitely remember. I feel like, we talked about this for even prior to the pandemic that you were working on that project or a similar project, right? And we were talking about the long-term effects of, even if it was the ones that weren't in your major hub cities, right? Just trying to figure out how do you reduce the spaces, and they had this long-term goal of 2029 or something of, eliminating a certain amount of footprint, right?
Yeah.
And you already knew it was coming. It was just exacerbated, right, by the pandemic, right? So, but we all know what it is. It's there, as you was talking about earlier, it was the spirit of collaboration and productivity.
That's how they sold it.
That's how they're selling. They're still selling it that way, right? So that
how much do you collaborate with your team when you're in office?
So luckily now, I would say 50% of my team is there.
Okay.
My previous company, I was at JP Morgan. Initially, no one.
Okay.
Well, I would say 2 levels up. I had my 2-level up manager, and then some of the people that reported to him.
Okay.
But nobody on my direct team. They were either in Tampa or in Chicago.
Okay.
And so yeah, it wasn't that. So I just made fast friends, as you mentioned earlier, fast friends with people that were sitting around me, you know.
Right. You in operations? Let's be friends.
Yeah, you know. So that's pretty much it, you know. But to your point too, they have to get back to people coming back to these downtowns or to these centers, because, you know, the larger companies, like the one we used to work for together and my past company, you know, they have these contracts.
That's right.
Right, with, you know, vendors, or you have contracts with restaurants that are either in your building or near your building.
And I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
That's a really good point. So if you have a restaurant there and none of your employees are there, because AT&T Discovery District, right, that was done right as COVID hit.
Right as COVID.
That was pretty crazy.
That's an additional 3,000 people. So even if you say, let's just say you're expecting 10%, that's 300 people. If you're not getting those 300 people in those seats at those restaurants, then the restaurants are losing money.
And
so
I'm sure the rent is sky high.
So then it all starts to add up,
Yeah.
right? It starts to say, okay, I'm not getting the people that you promised me, so we're going to have to renegotiate.
Yeah.
Nope, I don't want to renegotiate, so I got to get my people back there. Because I can't spend it to get more people downtown or to these places if nobody else is coming in.
Yeah.
So if you think of downtown Dallas, you got Bank of America building there. You have AT&T, which is there, and you have the Nordstrom, right? Like, you have all these people, but if nobody's there, then you have those, just going back to what you're saying, those commercial companies who are not, well, you have the restaurants speaking to the commercial companies saying, we need to renegotiate.
Yep.
And then you have those companies saying, well, we're expecting people to be there too, so that we can get our money.
You got the commercial company speaking to the business saying, where your people at?
Exactly.
Because I'm getting flack from this restaurant over here. Yeah.
You know, and then those are the same owners who own the other buildings that you're leasing from. So how can we make this work?
That's a really good point. I didn't even think about the smaller businesses that would have been impacted by us not being in the place that they expected us to be in when they signed that lease to put their restaurant there.
One thing I did see, though, that I did appreciate, and I know we're kind of talking about kind of this, the strong arm approach, right, like that most of people are taking. Meta, they recently announced that they were, you know, they had people who were working from home. They will give you the option so you can essentially fill out an application to say you still wanted to work from home. I don't know what the percentage, I didn't see any percentage of what or what the qualifications would be as far as whether you would get accepted or not to continue to work from home, but at least they're giving you that opportunity to continue working from home. So that at least says we have a portion that may be, you know, or at least on the outside, they may just be putting up a veil, right, on it saying, you know, we're going to give you the option, but then we only accept, you know, let's say 5% of the people or something like that, you know. Wasn't
Meta the company that was like, you know, we're just going to create a standing work from home policy? If you want to work from home, you can. Wasn't that them that said that during the quarantine?
I do remember, I thought that was Zoom.
Was it Zoom? Okay.
But even Zoom now is...
a lot of companies are rolling that back. But I think it's because exactly what you're talking about. Like, they're probably getting flack from their commercial real estate partners and potentially businesses that they are leasing space out to and expecting employees to be on campus for. So yeah, I mean, those are amazing points. I did want to point out some statistics, and then I kind of wanted to touch on this Amazon thing really quick. The first thing I actually wanted to ask you about, so you had mentioned this to me earlier, so companies are going so far now as to monitor badge swipes to ensure that their employees are in the office for whatever the set and kind of agreed upon number of days is. So if your company says you got to be in at least 2 days a week, they are monitoring your badge swipes to ensure that you're actually coming into the building at least 2 days a week. Have you experienced that?
Yes.
Wow. And what's the repercussions if you don't?
I guess I can speak freely on the previous company. So the previous company did that.
They actually, your previous company is listed here in my notes, in fact.
So yes, they did that. And I would say that they would send an email if you were out of compliance to your direct supervisor, and then your supervisor.
So they tattletelling.
Basically.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
So that comes from whatever IT department saying, hey, it's going to we're going to be watching you, and here is this person that didn't show up.
They just send you an
50% of the
email
time
with
that
the
they had.
eyes emoji. Like, I see you.
But you know what's crazy though? They've always done it. Like, they've always monitored bad swipes. Like, you have to for security purposes.
But also remember, is it VPN or was it VPN? Like, they would make sure that you were like,
Oh, active on VPN.
yeah, active on. So
Yeah.
I
So
do
don't know if
remember
they're-
some
I don't
things like
remember-
that.
I don't remember recently if they're doing that much right now, because
Yeah. But that would be more for work from home, right? To make
Correct.
sure that you're actually logged into the VPN.
Kinda.
And then
Kinda
when
both,
we
right?
were working from home, remember they were talking about monitoring like mouse movement or
Yeah, yeah.
keystrokes, and so
Yeah.
Amazon, the good people at Jeff Bezos Inc. went on and created a mouse jiggler.
Yeah. Yeah. Under like a mouse pad.
Yeah, it was great.
I've seen some great stuff, like the one with the fan. Somebody had two pencils on a fan.
No.
And so it would just move it like this. They had two pencils stuck to a rotating fan, and so it would just hit the mouse. And so it wouldn't.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah. So if you didn't want to go to Amazon and buy it, you could just put
I wouldn't have even thought about it. You connect to, and it just moves your
and
mouse
it just
for
moves
you.
it keeps your mouse moving.
That's
and so your computer never goes to sleep.
You know one thing about America, we're going to learn how to cheat some shit. We're going to learn how to cheat and steal, if nothing else. We are
It's the
creative as
American way.
hell.
It's the American way.
It's the only way to get ahead, honestly. Because I got to run and get my car washed real quick, so I'm going to set my fan up. And yeah.
Why you got your fan on? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
It's the middle of winter. It's Dalalaska right now, but you got a fan? I sure do. Dang. Okay, I never heard that one. So I mean, these companies are going so far to monitor. But I wanted to point out some statistics that I found. So San Francisco in particular, which we will actually talk about a little later in the show. So their office vacancy rate increased to 29.4% during the pandemic quarantine. That was 8 times the pre-pandemic vacancy rate. So what you're talking about as far as like commercial real estate losing money from us being at home, like we see, and we know how expensive San Fran is. So imagine those companies not getting that money, and especially if they like have loans, taxes, interest to pay on that building. If they're not getting that money, it's real. New York saw a 43% decline in leasing in Q4 of 2022. And so I think it starts to make, 2022. So I think it starts to make sense when you look at these very big headquarter type cities, right? When Biden mentioned our great downtown cities, we could pretty much point out which ones he was talking about. Of course, San Fran, Los Angeles, New York. I would imagine cities like Chicago, even Dallas, Atlanta, Miami. Yeah, we have to be on the list, right? Because as people spread out and we migrate kind of back south, you have to start putting those southern cities on that headquarters list as well. But yeah, these folks were losing a lot of money. And the sale that a lot of these companies used early on was collaboration. You got to be able to sit in front of your coworker and see their body language and, hear the tone of their voice. And I don't know about you, we was getting shit done in quarantine. My people was working. And what's crazy is the morale for my team went up during quarantine because they were able to go do things that they didn't have time to do before. Yeah, like a lot of us use Friday to relax, Saturday for errands, and Sunday fun day in hopes of getting a little bit of time. So all of a sudden those chores that you would usually do on either Saturday or Sunday, you could do those through the week. And so people were a lot happier. And I really hate that it is politics and money that's taking that from people when we know that people were just as productive. They were just as productive at home.
But even the reports were saying that people were productive. So it's like, where does that come from?
And we was all looking like, we've been telling y'all this. This is not news.
But then, so you said one thing, money. I go back to, and I think we've had conversations about this, and I think you've talked about this several times, but thinking about these companies, some companies, right, record profits over the past 3 years.
Can we talk about why?
Yeah, we can talk about why, but record profits, yet we're still worried about people coming into the office because we're losing money because we're paying for buildings.
Yeah, I was watching when I was in the gym today. I was preparing for this show, and I happened to run across I believe it was CNBC. What is it called? Squawk Box?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, the show. And they were talking about return to office, crazy enough. And there was this guy on there. He works in New York. He's on Wall Street somewhere. He's a finance guy. And he said the quiet part out loud. And I don't know if he caught himself saying the quiet part out loud, but he was just like, you know, he was selling the whole collaboration story, and you need to really be able to collaborate with your team and mentorship and all this other stuff, right? But what he said, he was he was like, plus, you know, you need a boss. You need a task driver. I was like,
There it is.
And there it is.
There it is.
Say the quiet part out loud. You want us back in the office so you can have a job.
Yeah.
And he mentioned, he was like, you know, I'm looking out on the trading floor beneath me. And I'm just like, bro, you telling on yourself. Shut up. Who's your PR person? Like, he was literally saying what I think a lot of people have failed to say, that quite a few folks, specifically at the senior management and executive level, they want people back in the office, not because you are not productive at home, but because to justify their big ass salaries, they need something to manage. And to manage you, it's easier to do in the office when they can come to your desk and be like, hey, how's that report going?
Tap you on your shoulder.
How are you doing?
Yeah.
He said the quiet part out loud. And I wish we would just go on and tell the truth about what it is. It's about these corporate, corporate executives who want something to manage so that they can justify their jobs and their positions and their salaries. But also the fact that commercial real estate investors are lobbying to corporations and therefore potentially to DC and lawmakers to get people back in the office so that they can fill those buildings and get their leases, you know, and their vacancy numbers down so that they can get their revenues and their profits up.
Well, you know, and that goes back to what you're saying too, because if you think about it, if they're doing that and they're pushing for it, and you have companies that are saying like, hey, we don't have people in there, we don't have a use, or not that you don't have a use for it, but we have these buildings that are unoccupied. We can go and they can go and say to the commercial leasing companies or to the people who own those companies, just say, hey, we don't have people here. Can we renegotiate that rate?
I want to pay $5 a month because ain't nobody in your
wanna pay the
building.
$5.
I know it's supposed to be
like,
$5,000,
no.
but ain't nobody here.
And so they're like, no. And so now it's all like a cycle, right? Like it's all a cycle of, hey, you know, who's grabbing on who? Like the restaurants are talking to, you know, the companies, and the companies are talking to the commercial companies. One other thing, kind of a funny story. So when I I had a shift in my role at my last company, and so I did have people that were on my team who were located in my same city. So the funny part about that, as far as collaboration, you know, as we're talking about that, is we would have a team meeting. We would all be in the office that day. We wouldn't go to a big office, a large office, and take the meeting. We'd be at our desk on Zoom. On Zoom.
It's like texting from the other room. Hey.
Or texting from the other side of the couch.
Can you bring me some chips?
Yeah, so that's, you know.
Dang.
We know what it is, like you said.
So that office ain't even making you collaborate.
Yeah, no.
I love it. I love it. Y'all let these people stay at home. We happier, and it just keeps the riffraff out.
I'll say this too, though. I'm one who, it doesn't bother me. I actually get energized from being in the office and seeing people in the office, right?
But you like people.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about me?
You like people too.
Some people. I
In
like
moderation.
You. There you go.
But that's what I'm saying. So I think taking that into account and giving people the option, you know, not everybody wants to say, like, not everybody says, hey, I want to stay at home well, some people do.
Victor was in the office all of quarantine.
Yeah.
But Victor's a people person. Shout out to Vic. We love you. Happy belated birthday.
Yeah, happy belated birthday. We love you. Saw him today.
Aw.
Sweet. But yeah, so, you know, that's the thing. Give people the option. You know, what's wrong with giving people options?
You can't
I guess they did, right? Like you said last year.
They tried, and you Negroes didn't take it. I was like, officer, home, home, please.
Gotta be faster than that. Gotta be quicker than that.
Hey, that's funny. That's funny. All right, we done spent a lot of time on this topic. We have got to move around.
It's a good topic.
Yeah, it is. It is. All right, y'all. Let's go on and jump into number 2. This is good.
Okay. Can I?
Yes. Whatever you got, give it to me. Give it to me.
Money making Mitch.
Ooh.
Did you see him today?
I did. I like that too. Money making Mitch. That's cute. We get some shirts.
So, what if he's playing us?
What you mean?
So the first time, maybe that wasn't on purpose, right? What about this time? It was like today. It was on purpose.
I think that man's sick.
I'm not disagreeing, but I'm saying, what if it's on purpose? What if this time, because it was it wasn't a controversial question, but it was kind of one of those questions of like, I don't want to answer that. I'm not saying he is. I just want to throw it out there before we go to this topic. So we can go to the topic.
He's like, I'm going to use my age to avoid hard question. Damn. I mean, some people are evil genius enough to play the long game like that. It's not something I would have came up with, but
it's just a thought I had. When I saw it. Money
making Mitch. Yeah. Let me find out every time he get a hard question, he frees up. All right, let me find out. Yeah. Okay.
Oh no, but go ahead.
We're gonna also overlay that picture because yeah. All right, so we got to talk about Trump's lawyer going to the hearing to set his trial date with Judge Tanya Chutkan. First of all, let's go on and talk about who this woman is. She is originally from Jamaica. She came here, went to George Washington University. Became a lawyer, ended up becoming a judge. She was appointed and confirmed through the Senate during the Obama era. Okay. Unanimous Senate decision, I believe, as well, to appoint her. So this judge, Judge Chutkan, she was randomly selected to handle setting the trial date for Trump's federal trial in D.C., and this is all around the election issue and him attempting to overturn the election results and refusal to have a smooth transition of power, all of that, right? We all saw what happened. So she takes the hearing, right? And the transcript came out, and this is where I laughed my ass off. So number one, a lot of y'all will probably remember hearing that Trump's lawyers were asking for a 2026 start of the trial for crimes that were committed at the end of 2020. Let's remember that, right? We're talking 6-year span. We're supposed to have the right to a speedy trial in this country, correct? Right? So she takes the hearing, and when you read the transcript, you just realize that they tried her and she was giving them that work. Point blank, period. So she set the trial date for March 4th, 2024, which is the day before Super Tuesday. So Super Tuesday will be March 5th, and that's the day that could be very important for Trump in that there could be a lot of caucuses and primaries in Republican, like red states in particular. So they tried to push it to April 2026. And this is what got me. So they were like, we want to make sure that we can get through all of these documents. There's what they say, 12.5 million pages of documents. Yeah. And she was like, well, first of all, a lot of those were released to you before we even got here. And she was like, how many of those were actually created by your client via tweet or right?
X, since it's X now.
X, right? Elon, shout out to X. or Truth Social, and then she's like, you know, are you saying that he doesn't have adequate counsel? Like, looking around, it looked like his counsel is pretty motherfucking adequate to me. Like, what's up? So she wasn't really having it. But here's where it got me, y'all. Oh, this is where it got me. So Trump's lawyer went in there and said, if you set this trial date any sooner than April 2026, we're going to compare this to the Scottsboro boys case. Now, if you are not aware of what the Scottsboro boys case is, I was offended. I was offended when I read it because I was just like, no, they didn't. Yeah. No, they didn't. So if you are not aware, so this case was about 9, I believe it was 9 young black men. The youngest of them was 17. So during that time, you got to think this was the late 1920s, early 1930s when this was going on. So think, you know, people are out of work. We're coming off of the Depression, all of this, right? So what was happening back then was that people were always out looking for work. Like, apparently people would get on trains and just go look for work because that's what you did, trying to get a job. So here are these young black men on a train, you know, they get off at a specific stop. And apparently when they get off, a couple white women also get off with them. So people on the train start thinking like, okay, what's up? No one says anything, but all of a sudden, the white women yell rape, and everybody on the train is like, oh no, wait. Y'all, the town goes crazy. And
where was this again?
This was in Scottsboro.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So the town goes crazy. They apprehend these young men. And I'm like, we're talking like just a few years older than the Central Park boys. Yep. You know what I mean? Yep. They apprehend these young men. They charge them with raping these women, have a 1-day trial, convict them, and put them in prison. It was, and then come to find out that they're public defenders. One of them was the town drunk. The other one was so senile that he probably shouldn't have even been practicing anymore. So they get convicted. It was so bad that even in the late 1920s, early 1930s, the Supreme Court looked over and was like, okay, all right.
Hold on.
Easy, killer.
Hold on.
Like, hold on. So it goes up to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court says, nah, y'all need to give these boys another trial. I want to point out that one of the women had already recanted and said, no, that never happened. And I don't know if you found this in your research. They were prostitutes, the women.
I did not see.
I believe it's called the Mann Law or the Mann Act, prohibited people from crossing county lines for, what did they call it? For like non-moral reason, like immoral reasons, I believe is how the law is written. They knew what they was going into that new town to do, and they didn't want to get caught up, so they screamed rape.
Gotcha.
They go get a new trial for the boys. They get convicted again. The Supreme Court takes the case again, ends up overturning it. But what's crazy about the situation, the youngest of them was 17 when he went in. All of them were given the death penalty, I also want to point out, except for the baby boy, the one that was 17. He was given life in prison. It took 30 some odd years for the last of them to get out of prison. For the last, even though when they really looked at the evidence, when they put everything together, they even looked at like the way the train was constructed and realized not only did these boys not do it, there was no way they could have done it because of the way the train was constructed. And I'm just sitting here like, no, you didn't walk into this woman's courtroom and compare a 1-day trial for something that not only these boys didn't do, but couldn't have possibly humanly done. Right. To you asking for a trial date that's 6 years after the trial, after the crime, the alleged crime, let me be fair, the alleged crime was committed. I love that she was just like, don't play with me. March 4th is your date. And I'm offended that you would even compare this case where those boys had a drunk and a senile old man for counsel to what you're dealing with here. Yeah. And that's all I really have to say about that.
It's crazy. I do have a question though in regards to that though. Like what's the play? What's the 2026 play? From your perspective?
why they were asking
why
for.
they were asking for 2026.
I think Judge Chutkin called that out too. She was saying that if you wait that long, a lot of the witnesses could be unavailable, their memories could be gone, but also Trump could be unavailable at that point.
So my question was, and I did research, but I didn't really like write much on this topic or do like think pieces on this topic specifically. But is it more so because that he's expecting to be in office?
There you go.
Okay.
That's what I was hoping you would get.
Okay.
Because it's a federal case, it would be covered under presidential pardon.
Okay.
So if he wins the election, he can pardon himself.
Yeah.
100%. So the thing is that Georgia case, which has state charges connected, there's no presidential pardon for that, baby boy.
Yeah.
So they are actually asking for a speedy trial when it comes to that.
Okay.
But that federal case, I do truly believe that he thinks and his people thinks like he has a good chance of winning. And to be honest, he does.
I mean,
he really does. And so I do love that she is being fair and saying like, I think she said there's only one case in the history of like federal courts where they've waited that long to go to trial. And she's like, nah, like he's the former president, but he's also a defendant at this point. And defendants don't get to choose their trial dates, period. So I did
see the piece where they were also talking about the fact that it's before Super Tuesday, the fact that people are going to be out there on the campaign trail. He's going to be out there on the campaign trail. He has to make appearances and all that. I'm just like, it's one day.
But you know, his base is so crazy that him going to trial the day before Super Tuesday may actually help him.
Listen, I don't mean, I don't know, I want to say this in the right way. I want to have my friends believe in me as much as his supporters believe in him.
I agree.
I don't know if that sounds bad, but
my friends y'all are lacking. Y'all are really not doing what you're supposed to do.
I don't know if that sounds bad though. Like I don't want it to sound bad. I just want them to be like with me for real.
I want to commit crimes and y'all still share my content.
I don't want to commit crimes. I'm just saying. But I'm just saying that in the grand schemes of what we're talking about, yes.
When we're talking apples to apples.
Yeah, like I still want y'all to be like, nope.
That's my boy.
Yeah, nope.
He didn't do it. Murdered who? Like Cat Williams said it best, right? Like, yeah, I want you to pick up the phone and be madder than me when somebody tell you that I committed a crime.
That was AI. That ain't him for real. Like,
yeah, no, he would never do that.
Would never do
ever.
that.
Ever. He's a stand-up guy. I mean, he was with me the whole night.
The whole
night, yeah.
Look, I got pictures right here.
I agree. Like his base rides for him the way like. I'm gonna be honest, some of y'all mamas ride for y'all ain't shit sons. Like, just be lying for him.
Man.
Just no, he would never. He was the sweetest kid ever. Yeah, right. Terror.
And it's funny, man. I just, you kind of watch all of the Jimmy Kimmel, the Daily Show. Like, everybody always has that conversation about, with his supporters going into his speaking engagements or his rallies, things like that.
And don't be knowing nothing.
And they show them the evidence, and it's like plain as day. It's like, no, I don't believe that.
The cognitive dissonance. It's a cult.
Fake news.
It is a cult. Like, and I mean, what's crazy is that there are so many studies, like true psychological studies being done on these people who are willing to completely ignore facts because they believe that Jesus sent him to save America. It's entertaining. But also, it's very dangerous.
It is.
It is very dangerous.
It's like, because we get the laugh out of it because of the way they chop it up and put it together. But, it's, again, how do they, like, those are some loyal people.
What you gonna do when he win?
You know what? This was the same question we had a few years ago. Right?
This is true. What did we? I went to bed.
We did this. I
went to bed. I was tired.
Honestly, we just lived our life. We got up and went to work the next day.
And they were just they were feeling themselves that day. I
couldn't even tell. Like, it,
I was in big data. I was up in big data. It was bad. It was, hey, brother, we got it. Like, whoa.
Well, we did?
What did we get? What are y'all talking about right now? Because you wasn't talking like that yesterday. I don't like it. So, yeah, it's a lot. But, I'm really I'm excited to see the spectacle that is going to be this trial. And shout out to Judge Chuckin for doing what a judge is supposed to do, regardless of who the defendant was. And by the way, she happens to be one of the hardest sentencers when it comes to January 6th criminals who broke into our Capitol and ransacked them offices. All right, we got to talk about another capital. We got to talk about your home state.
Yeah, shout out to Tennessee. Hometown.
Oh my God.
State.
So
don't leave home without it.
The last 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, were crazy in the Tennessee House of Representatives. Justin Jones, the Gen Z, I'm just incredibly impressed with this young man and everything that he stands for. I love that he is not backing down and he is there for his constituents. So we are going to clip this and let Justin Jones know that from 2 millennials, we support you. We love what you are doing. And keep using your voice to represent the people who put you in that seat. That's incredibly important because so many people go into those positions for wealth and for power and for namesake, but you truly seem to be there to do what the actual job is, and that's represent people and make sure that they have good shit in a country that says they can have good shit. You are literally holding this country accountable for what it says it will be for those people. So
yeah, shout out to him and all the other
Pearson, all of y'all.
Everybody across the country who are the young millennials that are stepping up into these spaces and into these political offices and essentially challenging what the norm. And I'll say the norm now. It's not what it's supposed to be, but we're challenging the norm.
What has become the norm somehow.
The norm. Yeah. So shout out to them that are stepping up and saying, hey, we're just speaking out in the way that we should for just equal rights just in general. And then even more so of what he was talking about specifically. Yeah. But I'm just talking in general. We'll get to, why he was, silenced and,
We just wanted to give you young Gen Zers your flowers because
he's actually a millennial.
Is he a millennial?
Yeah,
oh, I thought he was a lot younger than that. But it was his 28th birthday. Yeah, just recently. Okay, dang, is he still a millennial?
Yep.
That's crazy.
It's a wide range.
Okay, it's a big gap. We like it. Okay. All right, y'all. So on August 28th, on Monday, Justin Jones was silent. So I want to point out a couple of things. So the Tennessee House of Representatives was in a special session, and they were in a special session because Governor Lee, is that your governor? Mm-hmm. Governor Lee.
It's not my governor.
Not your governor, but he is a Republican governor. But he called them into a special session, and here's why. So remember the late March shooting at the Covenant Christian School that claimed the lives of three babies, 3 9-year-olds, and 3 adults, faculty members. So he told them before the regular session ended, to pass an order of protection law. They failed to do so. And when he found out they failed to do so, he was like, hey, get your asses back to the Capitol and pass something. So they ended up in a special session. It was all about public safety. That's what the session was supposed to be about. So they're in there for about a week. Nothing has been passed. So Justin Jones gets up and talks about some of the proposals that have been put on the table. One of the proposals in particular was talking about if private schools in the state of Tennessee should have the right to have their own handgun carrying policies. We're talking about private guards, officers, and things like armed guards on the campus. Yep. Justin Jones gets up and says, we don't need more armed guards. We need mental health counselors. We need mental health professionals. We need better pay for teachers. All things which I think make sense. Makes sense, right? 100% sense. They said that he was out. He had strayed off topic. Now, in the regular session, I want to point this out as well. The GOP dominated House had passed a series of rules, decorum rules that said if you stray off topic, you could be silenced from anywhere from a day to for the rest of the session. Right. Yep. Now, apparently they called this straying off topic. In my opinion, it's not. It is a rebuttal to a bill that is being debated on the floor. Right. They said he was off topic, silenced him for the rest of the day. When they silenced him, the Democrats apparently left the chamber. In the chamber were also.
No, was that the one with they had the little scuffle?
That was the day after.
Okay.
That was the day after. Yeah. Oh, it's getting better. So they left the chamber, went into the gallery along with protesters that were there, including mothers of children who survived the Covenant. Parents, I should say, not just mothers. Parents of children who survived the Covenant shooting. They started chanting that the speaker, Cameron Sexton, was a fascist and a racist. I want to also point out that both Justin Jones and Justin Pearson, when they were expelled in April for siding with their constituents in a protest about gun violence right after the school shooting, they literally said, remember when they gave their remarks at the podium, that he was using this chamber and using the House body as like his own little kingdom, that he was a dictator, he was a fascist, all of that. So here's all these chants, right? Sexton, the speaker, tells the state troopers to have the gallery cleared. Out.
Get him out.
Right, get him out of here. I don't want to hear this stuff. Next day, what you're talking about. So Justin Jones was silenced for the day. He goes back in. Oh, wait, let's back up to Monday. Because one thing that we forget is that earlier that day, Justin Jones had called. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He sent a letter to Cameron Sexton's office saying, hey, I'm calling a vote of no confidence in you as a speaker. Now, if you're unaware of what that is, it is exactly what it sounds like. It's saying, I don't have no confidence in you and I don't trust you to do what you're supposed to do. Yeah. If you are in a position of responsibility and someone calls a vote of no confidence, it's pretty much saying that I do not trust you to be able to fulfill the roles and the responsibilities of the position that you are in.
Yep.
So I'm pretty sure that Sexton has seen the letter. He was mad. And also Justin gave it to every other peer in the House of Representatives in Tennessee. Love it. Petty shit. But also necessary.
Why not?
But also necessary.
Yeah.
So the next day he goes in and, you know, the House is in session, all of that. They still haven't passed anything. I want to point this out. They still have not passed anything. Justin Jones gets up there saying like, hey, you know, would it be appropriate to call for a vote of no confidence? I actually watched the video. Roland Martin had it on his show yesterday, and it's a great clip where you can see them rushing to dismiss the session before Justin Jones can call for the vote of no confidence. And Justin Jones called him out on it. He actually challenged him and said, if you are confident in your role as speaker, take the vote.
Yeah.
I actually really agree with that. It's best man wins, right? Yeah. It's literally a fist fight at this point. But instead, he used the gun and he used the gavel to adjourn the session. They not only did they not pass anything by way of public safety or order of protection, but they also were not able to take the vote of no confidence because they hurried and adjourned the session. Right. Then the scuffle took place. And that was great because when I watched it, you know, in my opinion, Justin Jones was literally just saying like, and I can't, and you saw Justin Pearson was right there with him. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Like he was right there with him. I genuinely think that they were probably just giving him pieces of their mind about like, hey, that was a bitch move. Like if you are so confident in being the speaker,
in the position that you're in right now, hey,
and you're doing your job,
and you're doing the job that you're supposed to do, and we're calling you on it.
That's it.
You're supposed to show up.
That's it.
If I'm telling you that you're not doing a good job,
like
you just don't say like, oh, okay, let's end the meeting for today. Like imagine if you do that.
Your boss be like, I don't think it. Well, I'm actually short on time.
It's 2:55, so you know
we're gonna have to wrap this up. I got a hard stop.
Yeah, I got a hard stop. Hard stop at 3:00. So
it really is insane, and it actually reminds me of that Remember the Titans line. He was like, "You got a job? You been doing your job? Well, then why don't you tell your white buddies to?" And like for me, that's what it reminded me of. It's like you have a job that you know you have not been doing to protect everyone in your state. Yeah. Now, I was going to say to the best of your ability, but that very well may be the best of Cameron Sexton's ability. And I can't say whether or not it is. Like sometimes people give you their best. Mm-hmm. And if that's the best that Cameron Sexton has, what it means is that you are not the best person for that role.
that position,
because your role is to make sure that you include everyone.
Yep.
Everyone's best interest in the state of Tennessee, including those mothers that lost their babies or could have lost their babies.
Or even in the future.
That's right.
Like, this is what you're supposed to be doing in that space. Like,
That's right.
Heavy as the head that wears the crown, right?
Boom.
You know what I mean?
We can drop the mic right there.
You know,
we can drop the mic.
One of the things I saw, and I don't know if this was a quote from the first incident or the second, but you know, Sexton was quoted as saying, "The rules are the rules, and you may not like it, but you gotta, like, you just have to take it." But you know what I mean? That may just mean that sometimes the rules need to be changed, or there may need to be new rules.
But
right?
his rules only apply to people who dissent against him.
Right.
Because remember, before they even got expelled, part of Justin Jones's speech was, hey, we have people in this body who have been accused of of taking bribes, who have been accused of sexual assault. One member apparently peed in somebody's chair in the chamber. No one would. But the moment that someone stands with their constituents, like literally, these people are screaming in your gallery about do something about gun violence. The moment 3 people stand up in protest with their constituents. Right. You expelled the 2 black ones, and you barely let the white woman slide. And they sent her message.
One vote, right?
One vote. They sent her that message real smooth, like
hey, keep playing.
Watch yourself.
Keep playing.
Fuck around and find out. So yeah, I mean, the rules are the rules, but you are applying the rules only to the people who push against your agenda and what you want. So, I mean, I am loving what these young brothers are doing, but I also love that they are calling out that this man, Cameron Sexton in particular, and others around the country. Let's point out that Tennessee.
This is not an anomaly.
That's right. Like Tennessee is literally on the stage right now because of all the drama around it. And, you know, we love political drama in America, but it is a microcosm of what we're seeing all over our country.
Things that we don't know about.
That's right. That's right. And so I love that they're calling out that, like, hey, he is using this body to really keep a status quo that's killing people, that is killing children across. Bullets are the #1 killer of children in America now. And we worried about drag shows.
I don't see how people don't see that. Or do they see it and they're just blind to it?
I think it's a very brilliant propaganda campaign of, if they take your guns, the government could rise up against you and do whatever they want. But I actually did an explainer about the Second Amendment and what it protects. And it was never meant to be a free for all. Anybody can have any type of weapon without any type of regulation. Right. It was always supposed to be a well-regulated militia, well-regulated and trained militia. Now you don't even have to have a license in certain states. You don't even have to pass a test. Show that you can halfway aim at some shit.
You can walk down the street.
That's right.
Right now.
That's right. And so, you know, they like, these people say that they are protectors of the Constitution. You can't be if you didn't read past the first line to see what the rest of the rules were for this. So y'all, I am all about protecting yourselves. And again, the Second Amendment is also about protecting ourselves from foreign invaders. That was also part of it, that any civilian could become a soldier in a moment's notice if needed. If somebody come and put their little raggedy boots on our soil, we could take up our arms and become soldiers and members of armed forces to protect our nation. But here domestically, like we've gone at war with one another in like this crazy way where all of a sudden, like, we think the government's going to rise up and start beating us over the head. And I'm not saying that they wouldn't. But what the fuck?
But to your point though, it's a brilliant plan. And they're operating like to a T.
It's working. It's working. Child. All right, let's get to topic number 4. Oh Lord! So this is happening in my home state. But when it started happening, I had a great conversation with somebody about the why around this. So Nordstrom's, a lot. I want to point this out. A lot of very conservative publishers and publications. Apparently, our video on IG ended. Hold on, real quick, y'all. My sister just texted me. Thank you, Niecy. 1 second. I think it cuts you off after a certain point, though.
They don't want to hear what we got to say.
They don't want to.
They need to.
Oh. And my phone locked and everything. Lord. We're gonna cut this part.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Not y'all. I love them. Cheers. I hope this ice ain't too loud in this mic. But if it is, oh well.
Ice in your cup.
You're not drinking, no way.
What you mean I'm not drinking? That's that ice melting. I can drink it. Add details. All right. 3, 2, 1. We back on.
All right.
Thanks, Niecy.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, I think it cuts you off after an hour, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. All right. I'm going to clap so that Kenneth knows where to pick up.
Cut back in.
Yeah. Okay. What was we talking about? Nordstrom's.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So Nordstrom's recently, along with others though, they recently closed one of their flagship stores in the San Francisco area. And they cited an increase in robberies, like smash and grabs, where, you know, these groups of, I want to call them thugs, but I won't do it.
Easy.
I won't do it. These groups are going in and snatching merchandise and running out. So, you know, Nordstrom's is considered a luxury brand or a luxury store with luxury brands in the store. And so one of the things that got me thinking when I started, so this actually really came to prominence in Los Angeles and other California cities during quarantine. So we were still kind of in quarantine, but things were starting to open back up, and they start seeing really an increase in not only like person to person robberies where people was like snatching jewelry off of people, taking watches, all that, but also people running up in these stores and taking a lot of merchandise. And one of my friends was like, yo, what's going on in California? And I was like, well, let's break this down. Like, let's actually think about what's happening. Like, you know, we see what has happened to wealth inequality and wealth disparity in the United States during quarantine, right? Like the rich got way richer. The poor got way poorer. Also, we see that inflation has made people poorer just because.
Just for going to work.
That's it. That's like you were literally taking a pay cut
just
by keeping the job
just for going to work.
that you had. So when you look at like economic theories, right? There is this. Let me make sure I have the name right because I want to say it's a coefficient, but it may be a quotient. 1 second. Policymakers. Yeah. So it's called the Gini coefficient. And it really looks at income disparity and income inequality, and it bases it off of, you know, several factors. And that actually increased during COVID times.
Makes sense.
So meaning if you were rich before COVID, you got richer. If you were poor before COVID, you got poor. What we also know, and I love things like Freakonomics, right? That show the connection between what's happening in the economy and politics with things that we're seeing in the real world.
Yep.
So we do know that the higher the level of inequality when it comes to wealth, and in wealth, the higher the rate of violent crime. And that's why you see violent crime in places like, say, Chicago or Los Angeles or New York or San Francisco.
In this point,
right?
This case, yep.
So San Francisco actually has increased their inequality by almost 10%.
Okay.
And in that, we've seen almost an exact correlation in the increase in violent crime. So when you start looking at like, okay, if you're poor, right, chances are you're just trying to survive. But we have to be careful when we're talking about poverty in America in particular, because our poverty is not like poverty in a third world country or sub-Saharan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not the same. But what we should really be looking at is relative poverty. Meaning, if I got one chicken in my pot and I'm looking across the street and my neighbor got 100, well, damn, why you got 100 and I only got one? That, when you think about the psychological implications of that, that's obviously going to make somebody think like, okay, well, I got to go take a few chickens just to feel better about myself.
Or you can pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Right? Where I'm going to get some boots, though? I need a few of your chickens to buy me some boots to even get some bootstraps. Because boots have gotten more expensive in the United States since this little endemic came around.
Yeah.
So you know, I really did see, and I read through a lot of the more conservative and right-leaning publications that, you know, it was a travesty, just a travesty to see this Nordstrom's close, because it was a staple of the community. And, you know, it's been there, I believe, since 1988. And I remember the day it opened. I rode the escalators up. And I'm sitting here like, okay, we're missing the behind the headline. We are missing that when people have little to nothing before, and then you take the little that they have, so now they had nothing. Now it's in survival mode. Now it's in, all right, you made me feel like shit. How can I take something from you to make you feel the same? And I may not necessarily need it by worldwide poverty standards, but by American poverty standards, I need something, because there's a certain social ranking that comes with having things in this country. Like, we are a country of consumers, so I want to be able to consume. But if I got nothing, again, I can only consume one chicken when you getting 100.
Sometimes it's not even about, well, I guess at the end of the day, it's about consumption, but it's not consumerism, I guess you would say. Like, it's about consumption, because we need things, we need food, we need essentials to survive, right? You want me to go work for your corporation. You can't not pay me or pay me less, or try to pay me less, or fire me and then hire someone else for a cheaper rate, right? Like, at what point of you getting richer is going to trickle down and help me? I'm not saying that you have to give it to me, but, you know, at what point does it start to, like, come together, right? And, you know, let me say this, that it's absolutely criminal what they did to that store, like the theft from the store. So I don't want to make it seem like what they're doing.
We don't condone criminal activity on this show. Absolutely not.
Were we just talking about a couple of segments ago with Trump? You said if you did crime, you wanted somebody to believe. Never mind.
No, I was comparing apples to apples. I was just saying,
I'm just joking. Don't worry about it.
You know what I
mean? No, but no, it's almost like in America, you know, when we see a problem, like my arm is broken and you give me a Band-Aid. You know
when I need major surgery.
When I need at least a splint or something, you know what I mean? Not a Band-Aid. It's not bleeding. It's broken. You know, it's not the bone is not sticking out, but it's still broken. Like, I think that's what we get to, or what we do in America, and I say we, meaning collective we, that's what we do. We just try to find a quick fix solution for everything, instead of or even going deeper and finding the root cause of what the issue really is.
That would mean work, Marvá. That would mean critical thinking.
Imagine that, right?
The nerve of you to ask America to do that. No, and I think it may have been a Great Black Century, and we talked about that. You know, the fact that, we would rather, you know, that old school grandma, like, I'm gonna just put a roof on top of the roof. Like, I'm not gonna strip it down and like make sure the plywood is good. I'm gonna just put some new shingles on top of what I already have. And that's our way in America. It's like, it's so easy to look at a problem and say, okay, they're just criminal and they just want to run up in these stores and grab. But we never really. We can never really, and we probably can see it, but we refuse to acknowledge the forest because we rather play in the trees. And the trees they're criminals and they want to take from good, hardworking people, not thinking all the way back to how those hardworking people got the opportunities that afforded them the financial means to shop in stores like Nordstrom's.
And I think the incident that caused this, or the most recent one, was they said they stole like $300,000 worth of merchandise. But let's be honest, we're talking about Nordstrom. They probably got like 2 shirts, 3 pair of pants, and like 2 pair of shoes.
Right.
Like, let's be real.
Right. And maybe a hat.
Maybe a hat.
We'll
maybe. Let's be real.
Yeah, it wasn't that much for $300K.
It wasn't that much for $300K. And not only saying like, oh, they have insurance, they could do that, but then we got to think about, you know, and I'm not trying to count anybody's money. I'm not trying to take any money out of anybody's pockets, but let's be real about how production costs. You're trying to negotiate production costs. So you're, as a company, like, you want to find cheaper resources to be able to provide the same quality of product, right?
Right.
So, like, is it really worth $300, or who's putting the tag on that? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I'm setting the
final price.
Right?
Yeah.
So I can say it's $300,000 if it's $300,000 if it's worth it to me.
Well, and the other thing that you brought up is these record profits, right? And that's the way a lot of these companies have been setting those record profits is the person at the end, the seller, the person who hands it to you, sets the final price.
Exactly.
Right? So we remember eggs was sky high. Man. And then the chicken farmers were like, hold on, because for eggs to be this high, I ain't getting no kickback. Like, what's up? And when you really looked at the economics of that and where the majority of those price increases were coming from, and not just eggs, a lot of the price increases that we're seeing, there is no way, y'all, there is no way that their costs are going up as much as they say, yet they are able to have these record profits. Like, if they were not passing,
you wouldn't get the profit.
Right.
Like, it's a,
they put some stank on that on that increase.
It's a financial, like, you look at a financial sheet, really, like, you worked in finance, I've kind of dabbled in it a little bit, you know what I mean? Like, you understand basically a P&L statement.
But you know, I want to do something where, like, we explain, like, what I don't think it's a complex topic. I think you just have to teach people how pricing works. And then it becomes clear, right? But I think a lot of people, they were willing to accept the story of things are getting more expensive because of inflation, because it's a term that seems really complex. And most people don't know how, but you worked in pricing. So you would be the perfect person to really help people understand, like, nah, here's how prices get set from one hand to the next, to the next, and everybody is taking their piece. Everybody is taking their margin off of it. So by the time it gets to us, think about a product that may change hands 5, 6, 7 times, right? From where it was manufactured to where you buy it from. Everybody has to take a margin from it. Everybody has to take a profit, and there's really no rules as far as what your margin or your profit can be. You really push to see, what do they call it, where you test to see how much people are willing to pay for. It's not like price discrimination. Is it?
It's like, you're talking about like a control group?
Yeah, but it's like, okay, I'm gonna set a price I'm gonna set a carton of eggs at $7 and only 2 people bought them. But if I set it at $5.99, all of a sudden I got 20 people buying them. So it helps you to, like, know exactly what the limits are, like, of how you can price something. There's a term that I'm sure you'll text me later. But yeah, like, when you really think about it, you know, Nordstrom's may be selling you $300,000 worth of merchandise, and they very well could be taking $30,000 of profit off of it. You don't know.
Easy.
I'm just saying.
I like to point out that during the egg fiasco, I bought 15 dozen at one time.
Money.
So I was good.
Wealth.
No.
What? That's
it
wealth,
wasn't.
y'all.
It wasn't. It was a good financial decision.
You invested in eggs. Where did you
invested in
keep?
eggs.
Do eggs go bad?
So, yes.
Okay.
However, this was it was a long time before they went bad.
I was trying to find somebody with some chickens. Cozy
As
up to
were
somebody with some chickens.
As were a lot of other people.
Like, anybody got chickens? Like, I am more than willing to come over and help raise them.
You could've
I'll
went down
read to them.
What's the farm? Bonton.
They ain't got no chickens over there.
They don't have chickens at Bonton.
If Ples got some chickens, he didn't tell me.
I've never been to Bonton. I'm sorry. sorry.
Ples will be on this show soon. And if Ples has some chickens over there and didn't tell me, it's going to be a problem.
He might not, but I'm just assuming.
saying. Okay.
Assume.
All right. Well, no, so you said Bonton. That's not Ples. I'm thinking Oak Cliff Veggie Project.
Okay.
But Bonton is the other dude,
Yeah.
the hippie dude. He's nice, though.
Is he?
He's nice, yeah.
Okay. I never met him.
His dogs fight with the pigs all the time. It's hilarious. Like, so the dogs walk over there and be messing with the baby pigs, and then the mama pig, like, jumps in, and so then there's, like, a scuffle, and then he'll yell at them, and they separate. It's great, though,
Can you
to
share
see.
a video of it?
Actually, next time I go to Bonton, I'm going to try to see if I can get a picture.
No, next time that you go, let me know.
Yeah, I want to do brunch there. They have a really good restaurant.
I heard about the food.
Yeah.
I heard about the food there.
Okay.
I'd like
Okay.
to take the family out there.
Shout out to Bonton. Like, that's great. I love Bonton Farms. Their honey butter, if y'all haven't had it,
Yeah.
get after it. It's fattening, but very delicious.
I don't do the dairy, but I did try that.
Take you some Benadryl because it's worth it.
It's all good.
It's worth it. All right, we got to get to this last topic so we can get to what you are working on, my friend. All right, what are we talking about? Okay, let's talk about these children being in debt in America.
Listen.
Okay.
Like
This story, y'all, broke my heart because I did not know this was even a thing.
I didn't.
So we know debt is the American way. It's the way the country is in debt. Of course, its people are going to be in debt. But what I found out this week is that because not all children qualify for free school lunch or breakfast and lunch, that they are running up tabs at school when their families don't have the money to pay for their breakfast or their lunch. Some school districts are up to over $1 million when it comes to the tab that these kids and their families owe. But what made me really sad about this, so it took me back to my K through 12 days. And let me tell you something about Deborah. Deborah that's my mother. She was a big believer in, I'm a taxpayer, so I shouldn't have to pay for nothing extra. That was my mama. So she made sure she
out in
did.
Bel Air, where you were from?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Bel Air. Mm-hmm. Shout out to 73rd between Broadway and Main. The homies. But yeah, so she did everything she needed to do to make sure that my sisters and I got free school lunch. Now, I don't know what it is now, but back then that was like social death at school to have free lunch. Like if you had lunch tickets, oh my God. Like, and if you had a specific color, because that meant your lunch was free.
Yep.
Mine were blue. I don't know what color yours were, but my shit was.
I didn't get free, but
mine was free. Deborah made sure my lunch was free. So, these kids, right, are going up to the cafeteria, the lunch folks, and sometimes they end up getting a lunch even if they can't pay because the people behind the counter are like, this baby needs to eat, which I 100% agree with. 100% agree with. But then they end up running up a tab. If the kid can't pay, there are a few things that could happen because the school is attempting to recover that money for the district. If the district doesn't recover the money, apparently they have to take from like their general operating budget in order to cover that. So they have resorted to things like lunch shaming, which I didn't even know was a term. Pretty much like, giving the kid a different lunch than the other kids, maybe a cold lunch, a cheese sandwich, something other than what the other kids who were able to pay or that actually are qualified for free lunch. There was another school that made a kid work in the cafeteria to work off their tab.
a child. As like you're going to school, but you're working in the cafeteria.
A small child working in the cafeteria. There have been school.
Corn or what are you doing as a kid? Like, what are you doing? Go get that cream corn out there.
Saute them onions, goddammit. I don't like. Can you imagine?
No.
Let me tell you.
What are you doing? Helping with the garbage?
I remember one time this woman, this camp counselor, embarrassed my niece. She may have been 7, 8, 9 at the time. She embarrassed her in front of a group. So when I pulled up to get my niece from camp, My niece is over there crying. My friend happened to work at the camp, Moses. I was like, what happened to my niece? He was like, man, she embarrassed her in front of the whole group. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad because I just felt like that's a child, number one. There's a certain way that you're going to handle a child, period. But then public humiliation is on a whole nother level for me. And you're telling me that you took my niece in front of a group of people and embarrassed her to the point where I just came to pick her up hours later and she's still over here crying?
Yeah.
I'm on your ass. I can't imagine someone telling me that Malcolm was out there mopping up because you didn't give him lunch money that day.
Right.
We're burning the place down.
Right.
It's got to go.
Right.
It's got to go at this point. So, I mean, these schools have resorted to things like sending, one school sent a letter to the family and was like, if you can't pay the bill, we're going to get your kids taken and put them in foster care. They have kept kids from prom, from getting transcripts.
Well, that doesn't make sense because if they do that, then they're going to be on free lunch. So,
But that's not the district's problem no more. Now the government is paying for the lunch. As long as the district ain't taking the bill.
So now it comes back full circle.
Hey,
Cost of
the school
goods
district
and services are rising.
Right.
So food is being more expensive. I think that it was like what $1.75 starting or something like that. Like $2.70 for breakfast.
Yeah.
And like $2.75 or something for
Yeah, that was
lunch.
like the high end for
Right.
lunch. Yeah.
But just saying $4.50 for food, right? $4.50 a day. Let's round it off to 5, and you go to school what 20 days a month, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So you're asking a family
That's already taking a pay cut.
That's
just
already
from
taking a pay cut by just going to work.
That's right.
To add in their budget, if they have one, another $100 per child.
That's right. And I got to feed them on the weekend too when they're not
And
in
you still
school.
got to buy groceries.
That's it. I got to feed them dinner and on the weekends.
That's what I'm saying.
Because no, and I guess my whole question was, why isn't this just taken care of anyway? Like I genuinely don't understand why. I mean, we have laws that says our children have to be in school.
Correct.
They have to be in school.
Correct.
Right. We fund the schools with government funding.
Right.
You know, if your children are in public schools.
But the food isn't?
But the food isn't included? Like, is that not a basic human right?
Apparently not. No, because we have homeless people, right? Like.
Yeah, well, we know
and they
housing
have-
isn't.
But I'm
Yeah.
talking about even from the food perspective,
Yeah.
there's nobody giving them food because you have food banks and shelters that provide the food for them that still cost because they give money from donations, those
Yeah.
type of things, right? So no,
That's
it's not.
No, that's a great point. So you're gonna say I got to send my baby to school.
Yeah.
But if I can't,
If you don't send them to school,
boom,
then they're
I'm
going
in
to come
trouble.
and take them.
I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
Right. And but if I can't feed them,
Then you're still going to come and take them.
what
If
the
I
hell
can't
is
feed them
going
at
on?
school and I can't feed them at home,
Like what is happening in this country where we even have to debate whether or not these children should be able to eat
to eat.
when they're at a place that they are mandated to be at?
And you're saying that if they can't eat at home, if it's a struggle for them to eat at home, they should be eating at school.
That's
And then
it.
you're still...
That's it. And Congress,
struggling.
by the way, ended the program that provided free lunch to students during quarantine. So remember, like school districts had to have like the pickups and all that, which
Yeah.
I thought was fantastic because how much of a burden was that going to become on families that had their kids home all the time? And you know, some of these kids be eating.
Right.
Like,
Trust me, I know.
If they in them,
I understand.
they eat. You know what I mean? So and then there was like a program that I think provided funds for parents to it was just like a card or something, I believe, that provided extra funds for them to go shop for groceries, which I thought those were fantastic ideas.
Right.
Because that is truly a financial burden given that I'm used to this kid being in school most of the day and
Right.
I really only have to worry about dinner.
Yeah.
I can't imagine my mom having to be like, wait, breakfast and lunch
You
and
may
then
get
I got to come
breakfast.
home.
You may get breakfast, but for sure lunch, right? Like,
It's the thing. So yeah, y'all, they are shaming these kids about not being able to afford lunch. And what's even worse, not only do they have these kids sweeping up sometimes in a
I
cafeteria to
think
try to
that's
pay off
crazy.
these
like,
bills.
That's so crazy to me. Like, I can't even imagine. Even high school, right? Like, I still
No.
can't imagine that you're like, nah, I can't go to basketball practice because I got to go help take the trash out in the cafeteria.
Right. Because I couldn't pay for my lunch
Because
today.
I couldn't pay for lunch.
But I'm winning
What?
games for you. But so and then some districts are actually keeping kids from getting transcripts, keeping them from
saw
prom,
that.
things like that. And I mean, if you have applied to any college or university, you know that part of that application is your official transcripts from your school. So imagine not being able to get that sealed copy upon graduation or whatever. And I remember specifically, I think you could give an unofficial until you graduated, and then you had to deliver the official when you got to the actual campus. Yeah. So imagine them getting kicked out of college because their family couldn't pay the $100 bill from their breakfast and lunch through high school or whatever. And now I can't have this opportunity to, further my education, whatever, because the district said they want their $100.
Well, it's going to be trouble anyway now with the repeal of the affirmative action. So,
oh God, y'all ain't getting into college
anyway, right? So
you ain't getting into college anyway.
Yeah, so it's going to be trouble there anyway. But yeah, I just again can't even imagine anything that they're any of that.
It's
I
trash.
can't imagine.
It's trash. It's trash. All right, y'all. Well, we got to get into Marvá's interview. I want to, and I don't know how much of this you can talk about, but I definitely wanted to talk about the project that you're working on. And then also...
Which one?
The liquid gold.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Okay.
We can chat about it a little bit.
But also what you're doing by way of personal finance, financial freedom. So a lot of our topics today really did talk about, wealth, income, inequality, all of that. So y'all, Marvá does a ton of work around financial freedom and just ensuring that, people are able to figure out where they want to go and get there in a timely manner. And for me, that's very important because I think we talked about just last week how a lot of millennials are starting to believe that they'll never be able to retire, which is very scary to think about. So yeah, take it away. So number one, tell me about financial independence, financial freedom, and really how you got into that.
So honestly, for me, I would say I graduated college and started working in 2005. Mm-hmm. And I remember making this post, and it popped back up a couple of weeks ago. And I said, or maybe it was a while, it was longer than that ago, but I have it saved. And it said, I've been working, I think I had started my job and had been working for a year or so. And it said, have you started I'm already thinking about retirement. And one of the things that I did talk about to all of my friends, family, whatever, I was I'm retiring at 35. Didn't have a plan, didn't know what I was doing, just kind of out here, living life, but never really had a plan to how to strategically get there. And never really had anyone that was kind of mentoring me in the way to get there, right? Okay. So my whole goal with everything that I do now, from mentoring to, talking about financial wealth and wealth building and leaving the legacies and all those things, is I want to be what I needed during that time.
I love that.
So that's where I am now, is being able to give back to those who are coming behind me, or even my peers, or even those who are ahead of me. If I have the knowledge, I'm sharing the knowledge, whatever knowledge I have. So that's what that's my whole goal, is to just give it to, but specifically giving it to those who are just starting off their career, or early career professionals, or maybe college students. Okay,
so you're focusing on early 20s, people who are still pretty early in their I guess really at the beginning of the career, just kind of jumping in.
Yeah. So, and not even from a financial standpoint too. I want to point that out. It's not even just financially. It's, figuring out what I like to say, and I know you sat in on that conversation that I had at SMU. Shout out to the Mustangs. Yes. But figuring out what your superpower is, right? Figuring out what makes you you, and figuring out what you want to do for essentially the rest of your life, right? We all know that we're going to need money, but money is just a tool, right? But you want to have all these experiences. You can have these experiences throughout your corporate career, professional career, your businesses, your life, right? You can have them, but you just need to figure out how you can do it without saying like, oh, I gotta go make a certain amount of money to be able to have these experiences. And I don't think that that's necessarily true. Like, you may have to have money if you want to, you know, like go and live in Dubai and like have race cars and things like that. Yeah, that's going to cost a little bit more money. But for you to live a life of that's peaceful, that is impactful, right? Like, you don't have to have, you have to have money. And I keep saying that, but money is a tool.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's just a resource for you to get there. It doesn't mean that you have to have this large amount of money to do these things. So
are you helping them to understand like lifestyle creep? Because I feel like that was a big thing
a part of
for
it.
me.
That's a part of it, right?
Yeah.
Like, because, you know, you think, okay, I want to get this job, or I want to move up the corporate ladder, or I want to, you know, I want this new job. And a lot of times I'll have, you know, some of my mentees, they'll say, oh, well, I want this new job, or I want a new job. And I'm like, why? And the answer is always, I want to make more money. And it's like,
why?
So my question goes, but why?
Yeah.
Why do you want to make more money? And it's like, oh, I want to, you know, buy a new car, or get a house, or, you know, these things. And it's like, okay, that makes sense. And that's okay to have those goals, but really figure out what it is, like, how can you do that and still be, you know, to your point, not have lifestyle creep. Because you can get, you know, this new job and you go out and you say, oh, I want to get that car. I want to go get this, you know, Mercedes or whatever from the Honda that I'm driving. And now you come and you're starting to pay that $500, $600 car note. And you're like, I don't really like this car note, you know? So yeah.
No, that's a good point. Because when I graduated from business school, like, you know, the big thing was, what are you going to buy?
Yeah.
Like, what you going to use your bonus on?
Yeah.
You know, everybody was coming out with these big salaries, these big bonuses, and immediately it became about consuming. Like, what house you were going, what neighborhood you were going to buy your house in, what car you was going to buy.
Highland Park, of course.
Yeah, like, it was, you know, it was like, like, what's up? What you going to do with your money? And it became crazy.
And so,
Tyrone?
You gonna give it to Tyrone?
Am I gonna give? Child. So yeah, it became crazy. And I remember talking to my grandmother when I got my first job out of business school, and, you know, she reminded me, more money, more problems. Like, the more money you had, the more bills that were going to come, because lifestyle creep was a thing. And she didn't even use the term lifestyle creep, but after a little bit of research, like, I learned the term. And one thing that she told me was to find a level and a lifestyle that I was very comfortable in, regardless of how much money I made, and to just kind of kick it there. She's like, if you can find some place where, like, you are happy, regardless of if you're making 100K or 100 mil, like, you will always be good, because that means that you found a level of peace within, where, like, things aren't going to necessarily make you happier. More money isn't going to make you happier. And that was probably some of the best advice that I got. Like, hence, you know, I love my house, like the same house that I bought out of business school. You know what I mean? Doing what people told me to do, right? But I'm so grateful that, you know, I bought somewhere that I genuinely loved, and, you know, I've stayed in this house, and will keep it regardless of if I move somewhere else. So I definitely want to, talk more about your ideals around, like, how we figure out our finances in this crazy economy. So it seems like the 9-to-5 is no longer, like, going to be secure for people. It's no longer the place where you can go work for 30 years, buy a house, put your kids through college, you know, have a 2-car garage, you and your wife got a car. Like, it's not that anymore. So, like, what's your advice for young people coming into this new economy where, you know, it's not Detroit anymore, where your daddy could work in the factory and y'all be good? Like, what's next for us?
So I'll say one thing is, what I learned on that first job as well is that I have to be as loyal to the company as they are to me. And it sounds bad, right? Not saying that I'm not going in and giving my all. Like, I mean, anybody who knows me knows I was AT&T through and through. Still, because I'm back, right? Like, AT&T through and through. Like, I'm repping the brand. I got the T-shirts. I got the T-shirts, the hats, the pins. I got everything.
You be wearing your hat and the T-shirts at the same time. Double nail you.
You know, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that I'm not giving my all to the company, but I also have to be mindful that at any point they could tell me that my job is eliminated and I'm no longer needed. They only owe me what I give them time for.
Boom.
So if I give them two weeks, they give me a paycheck every 2 weeks, right? So for the work that I've done. So what I say is just being, like you say, and being comfortable in that space, but also just creating what I heard is coined a conscious spending plan. Lack of a better words.
Okay.
Budget.
Okay.
People are scared of budget. People think that budgets are restrictive. So
I
you got to
hate
change
budgets.
You got to change the language up a little bit. So a conscious spending plan, meaning you write out what you have, like your income, right? You write out your income of your 9 to 5, or if, you have a side business, right? Like you don't have to, but if you do, or you're delivering, for Amazon, like Amazon Flex or Uber, or, driving Uber, whatever it is, like you write out, those things and you say, okay, here's the income I have coming in. And then you write out what you have going out, like what, like the average of, whatever bills you have, car note, house note, rent, whatever it is. And then you'll find that there are some things that you can really give up, for lack of a better word. Like you can give up some things. And what the reason I say that there are things that you can give up, usually, right? Usually you can, is I feel sometimes as consumers, we feel like we have to do it all. Meaning we have to have the car, we have to have the house, we got to have, 2 cars, sorry.
Yeah, no, of course.
House with 2-car garage.
One to drive on the weekend and then one to commute
and then
with.
You got to have, you got to go on the trips. You have to have the shoes. You have to have the bags for women. You got to have,
men like bags too.
Sure. the watches, right? Like you got to be able to like go to brunch every weekend. You have to do all these things. But I think a part of finding your superpower that I mentioned earlier too is figuring out like what makes you tick.
Yeah.
Like if it is all of those things, which it probably isn't, like really look at yourself and be like, you know what? I don't care about the clothes for real. I just want to buy J's every time they come out.
I just want my shoes. Yeah.
I just want J's, right? Like I can go, shopping at, Nordstrom Rack. Well, Nordstrom Rack probably a little bit expensive, but like I can go shop at Old Navy.
It's better than Nordstrom.
I can go get, some Old Navy or, or I can go get, screen printed tees from Target for like $12. Right. So, and keep my shoes, right? So it's about figuring those things out and putting those things in your plan, in your spending plan, right? Like you can budget for trips and say like, okay, I know I want to go on trips, but if trips aren't your thing, you can just say no to trips with your friends, right? It's not my thing. I like buying video games.
Pick your thing.
Pick your thing.
Okay.
And go in on that thing, right? Like go in on that thing and like put it in your spending plan, right? But everything else, just take it out. Like, and then you'll find that a lot of those things you'll start finding bits and pieces of money and other resources in that space, especially if you're not focused on those things. Other things will start appearing to you as you're not focusing on those.
First question, and real quick, what's your thing?
My thing, I'm all about experiences.
Okay. Same.
But I do like shoes now.
Okay.
A few of them.
Those are
specific shoes.
I don't know if the camera
No,
can,
they're not on. It's
can
okay.
You just,
no, it's okay.
You don't want to kick your foot up real cute like. They fly, y'all. They real fly.
I mean, just
It's the hip mobility for me. It's the hip mobility. Not everybody can do that.
For me, it's certain shoes, right? Like I knew I like foam posits, right? Like so I got these are my first pair of foam posits ever in life.
All right. So experiences in shoes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's no. And for me, experiences are definitely a big thing for me. I love to travel. I love to go hang out with people in random places and eat random shit. So definitely my thing. I did also want to ask though. So when you really think about budgeting and where to put your money, are you encouraging people to invest? Like, how are you encouraging? Because again, like saving will only get you so far.
nowhere.
Right.
Just like you said, with the inflation, it's going nowhere.
Right. So, I mean, like, if you follow the Dave Ramsey's plan, right, you have enough for that big emergency that you may have, and then everything else should, go to debt and then I guess investing. So, like, are you encouraging them to invest? And then how do you feel about, having a wealth management firm, or are you doing it yourself? Are you using an app? Like, what's the deal there?
So I have never had a manager. And for me, it's because I never understood it, right? Like, for the longest, I would say probably up until about 7 years ago when I actually started paying attention. I still don't. I interviewed some, but I just thought, I started looking at the breakdown of the percentage of what they would be getting.
Versus,
and not saying that it's going to, like, that's their job, and I understand it. Like, I understand it as a career, right? Like, you're there to help people. But as I started doing more research and learning, even Warren Buffett talks about if he had to start all over again, one thing that he would do, yes, he would still invest. He would invest, but he wouldn't, if he wasn't Warren Buffett, he would just invest in index funds.
Okay.
And investing in index funds, you can essentially mirror the stock market.
Yes.
With the stock market for the S&P over the last 70 odd years, right? Like, it's returned 10% on average, 8 to 10%, let's say that, right? So you don't have someone that's out there that's trying to beat the market when the market is already going to be the market. Right. And it's also, it's mindless, right? Like, all you have to do is add funds, direct them to this account or to this particular fund, right? Like, add your money. When I say funds, I mean add money, direct them to this specific index fund. And that's it. And it's just let it sit.
So resources for people, like, how do they, so I'm gonna be honest, I have a firm that I work with, and it's only because I don't want to do it.
No,
I just,
understood.
Like, I don't have the time. I don't want to even.
But
like,
you do have the time, though.
But I don't.
You do, though.
I don't.
Because of just what I just said.
But I'm going to tell you right now, Marvin.
Said it when I literally tell you it takes.
With my level of research that I would do on every single thing I would invest in.
I get what you're saying. But those are the things that those are the times where you have the opportunity to try some different things, right? Like, my portfolio.
I don't want to have to think about that.
No, but I'm saying my portfolio is probably, and I looked at it maybe like 2 weeks ago. My portfolio is probably 80% index funds right now, and then the rest is like single stock. Okay. Like, there are some single stocks that we have.
I'm also a little more risky. I'm gonna be honest.
As well. But you can pick the level of risk within that, right?
Like, I went more conservative once COVID hit. Like, I went into kind of like those, like, the things I knew people were going to be getting into, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and that makes sense, right? Like, but you're telling your advisor, your person, your rep, hey,
we check in.
That's what I'm saying.
We checking in, yeah.
So again, those are the things that I would say that 20% of the things that I can do over there when I'm just like, oh, I just want to just try these things out, or if I want to invest single stock into, like, during the pandemic, I actually bought like Walmart and Target. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, but I didn't buy a significant amount. It was like a couple of $100. It
was, where are people going to continue to shop, even though, right, we may be strapped for cash or whatever.
Where do you go shop?
There you go. And that's how I think about it. So when I sit down with and I do it once a quarter, and it honestly makes me just, but again, y'all, this is me. Like, this is how
and again, I'm not like shunning people away from financial advisor, because they definitely serve a purpose, right? They serve a purpose. But, if you're just going to be the person who is just hesitant about, like, you don't know where the money is going, where you're going. Like, you can start investing. Yeah. You can open up a simple IRA if you're working, or you can open up a simple brokerage account, right? And just put money there. You do have to go in and direct the funds, though. So if I have an extra $50 a month, I'm going to go in and or it could automatically come out of my account, or I can just say, hey, go into my account, grab $50, but then I have to direct it to the index fund, to the S&P 500.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So resources for not only young people starting off in their career, but also people our age who may have not really paid attention to their wealth building strategy, like 101, where would you direct them?
It depends on where you are.
Okay.
Right? Like, if you already have a budget, then you can go and you're ready to start investing. A good book that I read was A Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins. and he talks about just what I was just talking about, of how the index fund is really an easy tool, right? Like to get you to where you need to be.
Okay.
I would say from a budgeting perspective, it just depends. Like you can use an app, you can use Excel if you want to do it. It just depends on how thorough you really want to get into it. But the app that I've been using for the past couple of years is EveryDollar. They have a free version and a paid version. So the paid version, what it'll do is it'll put the payments, like the transactions, into categories by itself.
Okay.
But for me, I use the free version because that forces me to go in there and actually do it and pay attention to what we're spending. Like this summer, my wife and I and the kids, like we went ham. So right now, I printed out all my credit card statements for the last 3 months and have to analyze every line.
Yeah.
I'm analyzing every line of.
It's called EveryDollar, right?
Yeah, EveryDollar.
Okay.
Yep, it's an EveryDollar. It's a Dave Ramsey product, but it's very it's very good. You also have like Mint has a version.
I remember Mint. Yep.
You Need a Budget has one. That's one that's really, really popular right now.
Okay.
I had an account there. I didn't use it because I was using EveryDollar, but I'm looking at it now to see if I need to switch over.
Okay, because I want to put these in the notes. So Mint, you would still recommend. I used Mint and it was good.
The initial issue that I had with Mint, and my wife, I think she had this issue as well, was at first it kind of started. There would be glitches where it would basically like lose all your information, so you had to go in and create the budget every month. Not the connection to your bank accounts, but just like the information that you would tie in every month. You would have to go back and re-enter it sometimes, but I think they're better now. I haven't used it in a while. And then there's also one, Personal Capital. Personal Capital, I think they just got purchased by, or just changed the name to maybe Empower, I think, or something like that. But Personal Capital is a place where it's a one-stop shop. So you'll put in all of your information, meaning all of your investments, like your 401k information, your bank accounts, and it'll put it all together, right? Like, and you can see your whole picture. So it's not like you have EveryDollar over here and you have Fidelity over here. Like it takes all of that and
so you see like your assets, your liability, your net worth. That's great.
You see everything there. And they also have a space where you can talk to individuals that work for that company, and they'll tell you kind of a way to optimize your how to optimize your resources and figure out the best way to move forward with your money and direct your money. So
no, these are great, and I want to make sure I put them in the show notes so that people can be directed. And then give me the name of the book that you read again.
The Simple Path to Wealth. The
Simple Path to Wealth. Okay, perfect. All right, awesome. Real quick, let's talk about what you're doing. I mean, you got your full-time 9 to 5, and then you got a 6 to midnight. What you up
shout
to?
out to 6 to midnight. Had to bring that back. We got to bring that back.
We do.
Get this think tank going back up. But
so tell us about it.
Yeah. So 9 to 5 every day, and then I have a I don't want to call it just simple real estate, but Empower Investments, right? So EMMPOWER Investments. 2 M's for me, of course, but also shout out to my daughter and my son, Malcolm and Micah. So,
the children, we love them so much.
Giving them a little shine there. But my dad and I have been doing just different businesses, mostly real estate, commercial cleaning in the past. And so really, we never really thought about, creating it as a business. It's just been more so just, it's a business, but we didn't create it as a, like set it up as a business. It was just more so like side work that we were doing and getting in a little bit extra money. So now we've, I actually formed that, right? Like, and so he does the management portion of it, because most of our properties are in Tennessee. And, so we're doing that, but we're moving into potentially doing, some logistics. So trucking, logistics as well. I love it. That's Empower. What else we got? My friends keep encouraging me to do the Eats by Vay, and I think you were one of them.
Yes.
So I cook a little. I'm trying to. He
does this. I had some jackfruit the other day, and I was like, "It ain't Marvay's though. It ain't Marvay's." Yeah.
So I cook a little. Maybe bringing that one back.
I want to point out, y'all, these are, so when I met Marvá, he was struggling with like chronic allergies. And so he adopted a vegan diet to see if that would help, which it did.
Yep.
And so crazy enough, a few years later, I ended up suffering with chronic allergies. And Marvá encouraged me. Crazy enough, they say it takes like 2 or 3 years for the allergies to catch up with you. And it took me about 3 years. So Marvá encouraged me to see like if it was, something my diet could help. And I realized that when I cut out dairy for sure, but also a lot of like animal products, that it made my immune system calm down, and like it really helped with my. Crazy enough, I sound like this right now because I've had an allergy attack earlier today. But so at work, Marvá would actually bring me like samples of what he was cooking, and sometimes it would be like jackfruit tacos or some type of vegan chili or something like that. And I was just like, yo, you can cook like this.
A little bit.
I'm telling y'all. And if anybody who has like gone vegan before knows that it's really hard to find like tasty, like savory food.
Man, it took me 3 years to kind of figure out what my thing
figure
was,
out how to get it right. Figure out how to get it right. And so he had it. He really did. And so I think you've probably shared some of those recipes with other people, and I'm going to encourage you again because it is a known fact that in America in particular, our allergies are getting worse. Yep. And so more people are starting to adopt, dietary changes to help with that, to really calm the immune system down. So not only do I think there's a market for it, but I really do think that we ain't supposed to be sitting around eating meat all day anyway.
Man, funny story. So this was just 2 days ago. So I actually made some chicken for I've been eating less chicken probably about a month. Mm-hmm. And I love chicken. Let me put that out there. Like a good chicken wing, I'm on it. But I made some chicken probably Monday night, and my family and I ate it. And man, I tell you, when I woke up the next day, I felt it. Yeah. Like I can feel it.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yep.
And I don't know if I ate too much of it, but whatever it was,
the sinuses,
it just came right on back. And I was at work like,
yep.
Is anybody else feeling the same way that I am? Is the air dirty?
No, it's real.
Yeah, no, it's so insane. So yeah, I haven't done I usually do 30 to 40 days once a year vegan, just to reset. Mm-hmm. So I haven't done that this year. So it may be time to go ahead and
let me know when you do it. I'll hop on it because I mean, granted, it is summer, so allergies are just going to be bad right now, period. But in the last few days, I've been noticing, like, okay, it may be time to go on and get that good reset. And for me, when my allergies flare up, it also triggers my asthma, which I thought I had outgrown until these allergies popped up on me a few years ago. And all of a sudden, I'm having, like, full-on asthma attacks again. And so, I was actually getting ready to start immunotherapy. And then they sent me to a nutritionist who was like, you probably should go on and adopt a vegan diet and also start juicing, because apparently something about the micronutrients or something. Oh,
yeah, you reminded me. I got to get a juicer.
And it stopped me from having to stick myself with a needle every day. Yeah. So I'm going to encourage that again.
And Tabitha Brown?
Yes.
Yeah, she has a great cookbook. Yep. I just bought it probably like 2 months ago.
Okay, so shout out to Tabitha.
I've been waiting to pop some of the recipes off. So.
Okay, bet. Well,
coming soon.
Look, drop a little something off. I'm just saying, you know where I live.
I got you. You know I got you.
You know where I live.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to wrap this up. I got to ask you one question before we go, though. Mm-hmm. What you mad about today?
Man, you know what? I know we were supposed to... I listened to the past episodes, and I was like, I know she's going to ask me this. I'm not mad. Like, I'm so, man, grateful.
Me too. But you ain't mad about nothing today?
Nah, God is good.
Dang, even God get mad.
He does.
I'm just saying.
He does.
He flooded the earth and whatnot.
I mean, he does. He shows his wrath.
What's that meme that was like, ain't no way God told Noah to put 2 mosquitoes on that ark. And how did you collect them, Noah? You mean to tell me it was 2 roaches running around there?
Man, listen. Yeah, no, I'm not. Like, I genuinely... Anybody who knows me, like I mean, I have bad days. My wife probably has seen my bad days, but I don't let, I try not to let my kids see it. I try not to let the outside world see it. I know that, we are human and we should show that emotion, but shout out to Jazz. Like, she's, my pillar.
She's amazing. Jazz, I love you. I know he love you, but I love you too.
She lets me be myself, you know. So yeah, no, I'm not mad about anything. I'm so grateful. Like, I appreciate you, my favorite Valley girl, letting me come over here. Kick it with it. You know, I gotta give you all the time.
Y'all, he swear I'm from West Covina. He swear I'm from West Covina.
But no, I definitely appreciate you. I just want to, you know, just say, like everybody else has said, this is amazing.
Thank you.
I appreciate the opportunity, everything that you're doing, like the consistency.
I appreciate that.
Seeing that every morning, still writing, still doing, you know, the things that you're supposed to do. Yeah,
And I appreciate you for continuing to push me to be consistent.
Yeah.
Because those were conversations that we had time and time again. Like, you need to be writing. You need to be. And I, you know, for me, it was about when I felt like it. And then I think I realized, like, you got to get up and do it when you don't feel like it too.
And I think you have a different, I mean, you know, you have a different writing style, right?
Yeah,
like, so,
I do.
And I think it takes people in places that they didn't know that they were going to go in. So I think that that's unique. And I think you should definitely continue to explore that and cultivate that. So
thank you. Now it's funny because as much as you know, I love writing. I do have a very different style, and what's crazy is that style wasn't always welcomed in kind of mainstream publications, which made me carve out my own lane.
Yeah, but that gives you the, like, you're hearing the voice that's talking to you, and you're getting that. So that means it's speaking to you to do it.
Yep.
And you just have to be obedient to that voice that's talking to you.
You saying it. You saying it right there. So no, I appreciate you for over the years encouraging me to do this. And I mean, literally, it took years to get here, but we are here.
We're here. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
It's only up from here.
Yeah. And the show is really becoming something that I'm enjoying the process of growing. I was actually telling Ant, our producer for the day, not that he doing this right here, y'all. But I was actually telling him that I'm really beginning to just even enjoy the day-to-day routine and the process. Like, some days it's 20 likes, other days it's 20,000.
But you're not doing it for that.
But and that's right? Like, I believe that's part of the beauty of beginning to enjoy the process. Like, you do it for the bare enjoyment of creating shit. Yep. Not for any type of reaction or anything like that. So so no, I appreciate you. But I do want to give you what I'm mad about today. So
okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Real quick, y'all.
I forgot to ask you. What are you mad about today?
Well, and I ain't really mad per se. Okay, so earlier today, one of my friends hit me and was just like, "Oh, by the way, you going out with me later tonight?" And I was just like, "No, I'm not. I ain't had no plans of going out nowhere. I actually plan to do this show, and then I'm gonna chill the hell out. Like, I'm set my hookah up and relax."
But just like Latoya said last week, you do be out in these streets.
I do not. Listen, y'all. I don't know who told these people that I be outside, but
Marlis.
where I be at, where I be at, Marvá?
You know we know you.
Where I be at is what I want to know.
Okay.
Go
ahead and finish.
I went to the pool last weekend.
I cut you off. Go ahead.
So I really didn't plan on going out. I was like, I'm really trying to like keep a daily routine where, you know, I wake up at this time, I do the morning video, all of that. And to do that, that means I honestly need to be in the bed at a certain time.
Yep.
Because Auntie needs her rest, okay? I got to get my rest. So I was a little annoyed. I was a little annoyed that someone took the liberty of attempting to put something on my calendar that was not supposed to be on my calendar. But then after talking to my friends who got good sense, they were like, look, sometimes that's what friendships are. That's what relationships are. You just got to sometimes, like, deal with the fact that people are going to make last minute plans. And sometimes you can say no.
Yeah.
But for real, what you going to be at the house doing? And I was just like, okay.
What are we going to be doing?
And you know what I was afraid of? I ain't going to even lie. I was afraid that if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. If I let you put something on my calendar this one time, you're going to be hitting me next week talking about, hey, we going out again. So long story short, I am going to go to the little shindig or whatever.
Mm-hmm. So you're not really mad then?
No, I'm still upset, and I actually voiced my grievances to this friend.
I hope they're not watching, because you would have been
I'm certain. I'm certain, because it's one of them friends. I'd be like, murder. It's one of them friends, right? They gonna hold me down for sure. But that's what I'm mad about. And all I'm gonna say is, y'all, protect your energy, protect your time, but don't be so much of a stickler like me about time that you can't enjoy life, enjoy your friendships, your relationships. So yeah. All right, y'all, we got to get out of here because we have gone way over, but this is what me and Marvá do. We sit around and talk shit. Thank y'all.
Liquid Gold. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Latest endeavor. So do have one more thing to talk about, but another business opportunity that came my way from a couple of my brothers. Shout out to Steve and Austin. Nubian Roots Coffee and Tea. It's an online tea service, coffee and tea service. And so really for us, it's about the African diaspora, right? And celebrating the culture of that, right? Like, and so what we're doing is we're taking, our mission is essentially to serve, to educate, and to provide an experience for our culture.
Coffee and Tea Lovers United.
Yeah.
And
so
you are sourcing.
We are sourcing directly from the motherland.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Like
So-
that was what
Yes. So
Yeah.
we are ensuring that we are tapping into that industry because we all know that everything started in Africa.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, that's our gem that we're going to be bringing to the world pretty soon. So
I love it. Look, when y'all go over there for the tasting, let me know. I
yeah,
want to
so that's
come.
a plan as well to make sure that we get over there and
I'll be quiet, I promise. I'll sit in the back.
Experience everything. No,
Yeah.
we're inviting the whole fam. All the cousins can come.
I'm just saying,
All
like,
the cousins can come. So yeah, we're
that's so dope.
shooting to launch pretty soon. When I mean pretty soon, I mean like in a few weeks.
Okay.
So look out for it. We're gonna have like some special events for select personnel. So we'll have some closed events, but definitely some
Yeah.
open events as well. And then we're just trying to expand it. I myself am not really a coffee drinker. However,
I'll take your portion.
For me, it's more about the nostalgia, right? Like my dad drank a cup of coffee every day, right?
Yeah.
Like, so for me, it's about waking up
to the smell
and having
yeah.
that smell. And my wife drinks every day, right? Like, and so for me, it's about waking up and memories of my childhood and what that brought and kind of the happiness that I saw. Not necessarily that he got from coffee, but just the experience of it because he grew up in a house where his grandfather would drink coffee every day. So it's
I got
kind
it
of
from my grandmother.
Yeah,
It's a generational thing usually, yeah.
right? And so I didn't get the gene.
Well, it skipped my mother, but
it skipped
yeah.
me. But my wife loves it, and so just thinking about, for me, it's more about just seeing how many people enjoy it, and it's not even about just coffee and drinking coffee and having to have it in the office setting. It's an experience, and that's what
Yeah.
I'm learning as well. Is that the people that we've been introduced to. They talk about the experience of it, right?
For me, it's the way that I welcome the day. Like anyone who drinks coffee knows that like it actually after a while it does very little to wake you up.
Yeah.
But it really is about the routine of getting up and like having this motion that eases you into the day.
Yep.
And so for me, that's exactly what
And
it is.
I love the smell of a coffee shop, like walking into a coffee shop. Like I love the smell of it. I just don't drink it.
Yeah.
And I don't like, and in my mind, it's about drinking it from the perspective of having it to give you energy, right? Like, because that's what you think
that's
about
usually
in the
how
corporate
it's
environment, right?
But for true coffee connoisseurs, we know that it really is about that experience. And so I think that's beautiful that you all are tapping into that because a lot of us did pick it up from parents or grandparents. For me, my mother didn't drink coffee, but definitely my grandmother. And I remember she was an early riser, so she would get up and make her coffee and like read her Bible and she would let me hit the corner of the mug every so often. So I actually started tasting coffee very early in my life, and now it's the same way for me. Like I genuinely can't even sit at that desk until I have a cup of coffee in my hand. I will say though that I do come off of it once a year to make sure that I can like still get away because caffeine is an addiction.
My vegan, that I go vegan every like 30 or 60 days once a year.
It is an addictive habit. Like caffeine actually is addictive. So you tend to go through withdrawals if you don't have it. So I come off of it once a year and I do the headaches and the jitters and all of that. And then I go right back to it because again, for me, it's about the experience rather than anything. So I can't wait to see what y'all do.
I'm excited about that.
Like you said, shout out to Steve and Austin.
My guys.
Yeah, for bringing this up. That's super dope. But all right, we got to get these people out of here.
Yeah, let's
It's
go. I
late.
know we've been here for a couple of hours now. I didn't think it was gonna last this long.
Let's see. Tell the people where to find you real quick.
Man, IG, Twitter, at Marvá D Morrow, MARVA D MORROW, and then Facebook, LinkedIn, Marvá Morrow.
All right.
Yep, simple as that.
And that's it. And make sure y'all follow, like, subscribe, tell your mama, your mechanic, all of them.
Share this episode.
Yeah,
I want this one to be the most watched and listened to episode.
I mean, put that out there, because why not?
Why not?
Right?
That's what I want. Where my
call
people
it
at?
what you
Where my
want.
people at?
Call
Check
it
in.
what you want.
What are YouTube at?
Man, I love it. All right. Shout out to Sour Kids Productions, V Sour Agency, and 4152 Entertainment for being our folks. Anthony, thank you so much for your work today, sir. And then obviously Kenneth and Great Black Century, who are the producer and co-producer now. In a few weeks, y'all will see us in the new space.
I can't wait to see the new space. I'm loving this one though.
No, I think we still gonna do like some more intimate stuff here.
Gotcha.
But I'm so grateful that home will be able to still be home, and then I can move kind of the larger production into a more neutral space.
Get
So
the group session going on.
right. No, we gotta talk. We gotta talk. All right, y'all. We're gonna get out of here.
All right, Thank y'all. Thank you so much.
For having
I appreciate
us.
it.
And we'll see y'all later. Y'all have a good night. Be safe out there. We'll see you later next week, 7 p.m. Central Time.
Go Vols.
FT, what is it? Fade to Black, yeah.